right, Mother Nature threw us a curveball about 90 minutes ago, but the weather hopefully has moved on. The tarp has been rolled up, and there will be SEC baseball at Baum-Walker Stadium. Maybe some dancing or just getting ready for some baseball, whatever that is. We're going to see the Georgia Bulldogs and Arkansas Razorbacks in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Hey, welcome back. It's been a while. I'm Brett Dolan. He's Troy Eklund. Thanks for joining us. Arkansas got a 6-3 win last night in the opener of this series, and it was Hunter Dietz leading the charge for the Hogs again.
Boy, he looked really good, Brett. Really mixing up his pitches. Only one walk, 6 punch-outs against an extremely well-hitting Georgia Bulldog team.
Arkansas made that switch to put Dietz in the #1 starting assignment Game 1, and he has really been consistent with a multitude of pitches.
Boy, he really has. You know, the fastball is electric, mid to upper 90s. The slider has been outstanding, but the curveball is the one that's really started coming around for the big left-hander.
Now, the Georgia Bulldogs did hit a pair of home runs, and Troy, that's how they score, and that's how they produce their offense.
Boy, and Daniel Jackson, a guy that is just absolutely raking this season. Super athletic catcher. That's his 17th right there. And then Wynn decides to get into the home run parade, but that's what the Bulldogs do. They can launch the ball out of the park 1 through 9.
Not just the best team in the country at home runs, far and away in that #1 spot. So the lineup that the Bulldogs will run out there today has Phelps, Jackson, and Lujo, the top 3. Oriach, Allen, O'Shaughnessy, then Wynn, Branch, and Black. And the pitcher who will have the starting assignment to go up against this lineup will be the left-hander, Cole Gibler.
Yeah, Cole Gibler's got some really good stuff. He's going to sit in the low to mid-90s with the fastball. The cutter slider is his best pitch, especially against left-handers. The control's been pretty solid. And again, he's got to keep the ball down against this power-hitting Georgia lineup.
That earned run average would be 9th in the conference if he had enough innings to qualify. Meanwhile, Vigu for the Georgia Bulldogs has the 7th best, so maybe a pretty sneaky good pitching matchup on this Friday night. And Troy, we were concerned when the weather rolled through, I don't know, about 30 minutes or so before the scheduled start time of 6:02 and some lightning, that we might be looking at a long night.
Yeah, it was a little sketchy there for a while, but all that bad weather went north, and looks like it's going to hold off to maybe 11:30, close to midnight. So I think we have pretty good weather right now for this ball game.
Wes Johnson hoping you are correct, and the head hog as well, on a 73-degree night. Jackets optional here at Baum-Walker after a huge crowd in excess of 10,000 last night. Saw the Hogs win it 6-3. So Arkansas playing some pretty good baseball as of late. When last we talked, things looked a little bit different, but Arkansas has run off 5 straight wins. Here we go. Trey Phelps to lead things off. And that is strike 1, says Will Van Raphorst, our plate umpire. Mike Fichter over at first. Mayhew Edwards umpires at second. Jeff Head will be at third base. Phelps, #1 in the conference in runs scored. 3rd in on-base percentage. Gets hit a ton. His batting average a little bit under 400. 2nd best in the SEC, so he fills up almost every single stat category, including those homers and, well, 2 more hits last night.
Yeah, just a tremendous athlete is Phelps.
A big swing, found it at the plate.
Brett, he's been kind of nicked up the last couple years, and again, I think that this Georgia coaching staff says, you know, we knew he was really good, we just had to get him healthy.
Yeah, draft eligible a year ago and did not go the pro route, wanted to come back, maybe help this team get to a College World Series. Obviously having a big-time campaign. Gibler nearly launched one to the screen. That was the most athletic play, might say, all night from Helfrich, just jumping up to catch it.
I think if that wasn't potential with 2 strikes, he probably would have just let that go to the backstop. But that was super athletic. Probably the 2 best athletic catchers in the whole entire conference playing in this game tonight.
Yeah, in a year of catchers, we've got a couple of outstanding ones this evening and this weekend. Boy, Phelps able to check on a pitch that finished down. He's got that jersey unbuttoned, and the count is gone full. Here comes the payoff. Hard hit, but tracking right to Souza. 1 bounce. He'll retire Trey Phelps to begin this game.
Well, that ball was scalded by Trey Phelps. How about 102 off the bat? Can't hit it much harder.
Gibbler in his previous start at Alabama, 4 1/3 innings of 3-run ball. 2 of those were earned. Facing Daniel Jackson with those 17 home runs and 53 runs batted in, second most in the SEC in the RBI category, and he waves through that one for strike one. He got the changeup, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. That was a really good pitch, and again, you're going to have to keep everything off speed and Jackson off balance.
That one's tagged to left. A little bit of topspin. Ruiz was playing awfully deep, and he's there on the track waiting to make the play for out number 2.
Tell you what, so far Cole Gibbler has got 2 outs but has not fooled either Georgia batter.
Sometimes
what is it, just loud outs?
You'll take them. Rylan Lujo next in. Florida native, huge numbers, but they're even better in SEC play. 442 in league games.
Yeah, that's just absolutely crazy. Slugging .721 in conference games.
He's one of the few guys on this Georgia team that isn't in double figures in home runs. He only has 5, but then again, when you're hitting 442 in league games, find your name in the middle of this lineup, and a guy who really is more of an infielder but has been playing outfield. The same can be said for Henry Allen. Good pitch at the bottom of the zone and a fastball from Gibbler for strike 2.
How about this stat on Lujo? 43 at-bats in conference, only 3 strikeouts offensively, and that's incredible.
He finds himself down in the count, 0-2. Able to put that in play, and Pompey will not get Lujo at first. 0-2 protecting, trying not to strike out, just dribbled one up the third base line. Pompey made a great effort to try and come through that baseball, but Lujo gets another hit.
Yeah, just absolutely too much speed by Lujo, and Pompey was playing deep with 2 strikes. No chance really to get Lujo at first base, and almost one of those balls you wonder if he should just eat it.
This is Jordy Oriach, the DH. He's also putting up big numbers in SEC-only games, just under 400, and takes strike 1. Didn't start, but he did pinch hit in the game last night. That's a big man in that batter's box. Lefty-lefty matchup. Gibbler able to find the top of the zone for strike 2. Came back with a breaking ball, so back-to-back hitters he's jumped ahead of with an 0-2 count. He's in full lather. Comes set against his body. Pause before the 2-strike pitch. Knocked down by Helfrich.
Yeah, Brett, I'll tell you what, this Georgia team, I don't know if they look like they should be playing football or not, but how about Oriach? 6'5", 245. You're right, he definitely does fill up that left-hand batter's box.
Gibbler's pitch on the corner. Came back with a fastball and painted for strike 3. So Gibbler works around an infield single, and the Razorbacks coming into bat. Come to bat in the bottom of the first inning, winners of 6 straight. Take a look at the pitcher that they will see tonight on the mound. It is Dylan Vigneault, Troy's 7th best earned run average in the SEC, entering play this evening.
Yeah, Big U's got a big-time arm. He's going to sit mid to upper 90s. Has touched 98 before. You talk about his numbers. Opponent's only hitting 162 off the right-hander. A little bit of a control problem. You see the 24 walks in that 41 innings. But sometimes, you know, if you can be effectively wild, you know, hitters don't dig in quite as much.
Well, he's only given up 23 hits in those 41 innings. So the base runners sometimes are the ones he puts on. And Arkansas kind of settling into a lineup just a bit. You notice no Kahio Eloy tonight. Rutenbar, Helfrich, and Kojal, the top three. Ruiz, Souza, and New. Then Souza, Robinette at first, and Pompey back at third base. Fans stayed through what wasn't quite a 90-minute weather delay. Not a lot of precipitation, a little bit of lightning, some sprinkles, but rewarded with baseball. And here's Carter Rutenbar. He got a hanging changeup last night, hit one over 400 feet for a home run, and Troy continues to put up impressive at-bats for a freshman.
Boy, he really does. I think the thing that really impresses me with Rutenbar is just his ability to lay off pitches that are down in the strike zone off the plate. And you know, a lot of freshmen will really expand that strike zone, and up to this point, Rutenbar hasn't done that.
Figure snaps one of the outside corner for a called strike. In fact, in home games this season in Arkansas, playing their 25th, Carter Rutenbar has the best batting average at Baum-Walker Stadium. 366.
Well, I tell you what, that first fastball by Vigu had some insane run on it. Almost 18 inches of horizontal break.
Vigu took a no decision last week against Florida. Pitched well, though. 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 7 Ks. A couple of starts ago, he fought his command. He walked 6 against Mississippi State in 5 1/3 innings. Last year, he was a Michigan Wolverine. Spent a couple of years in Ann Arbor. Hard hit on the ground. Scooped by the second baseman. Wynn able to make the play. This Georgia team even better defensively than Arkansas. They've made only 24 errors, but sometimes that doesn't always tell the true story. But that was a play that might have taken a hit away from Carter to begin the bottom of the first inning.
Yeah, absolutely great play by Wynn right there. You know, at this point, it's almost like you flush the preseason stats and you kind of go with conference only, but the Bulldogs are picking it. Only 12 errors in conference play. They're fielding a really solid 978.
So Figure retires his first Razorback. Ryder Helfrich steps in. Ryder, the lone Razorback in double figures in home runs with those 12. OPS over 1,000. Scored another run yesterday. He leads this team in runs scored. Tell you what, even sometimes when Vigu doesn't have a lot of movement, he gets some movement on every pitch so far.
Yeah, nothing is straight that comes out of his hand there. He kind of gets his fingers on the side of the baseball, and it has tremendous run into right-handers. I mean, just that pitch right there, I think Helfrich gave up on it, thinks that's going to be outside, and it just tails right back over the corner of the plate, kind of little Greg Maddox-esque.
Indeed, I think he's asking Will Van Raphorst if it clipped the corner or not, but he's behind 1-2. That's downstairs, working with Jackson, who's got a tremendous arm behind the plate.
Jackson just has a tremendous everything.
Yeah, he does. He runs well, big power hitter. 2 great catchers in this game. 2-2, and Helfrich will send one over the leap of the shortstop Branch, able to wait back on it and collect his 40th hit of the season.
Not a screamer, caught that one off the end of the bat, but I tell you what allowed Ryder Helfrich to get a base hit right here, Brett, is his ability to keep that barrel in the zone for a really long time.
Gives you a chance against some of those off-speed pitches. Brings up Kojal. Thought he had a homer last night when he ripped a ball to right into the wind, had to settle for a sac fly, and finished 0 for 3. It's interesting with Kojal because, Troy, he leads this team in hits with 45. But the SEC-only games have not been friendly, and that's been kind of a storyline for Arkansas on the season. Kojal hitting 185 in league games. It's rare, I think, this deep into a conference season to have those two stats both be true.
Yeah, I think so. And, he might be pressing a little bit. And I think when the offense of the Razorbacks was struggling a little bit, I think he put a little extra pressure on himself because he's one of those guys that was still hot at that time. And I think it kind of had its effect.
That one sprayed down the line and left, but foul. To me, it does feel like there have been some games where he's made really good contact. It hasn't always been rewarded. Felt like at times Helfrich was the unlucky Razorback. Maybe that segued a bit to Camden Kojal. But I think when Arkansas started this win streak, to me it coincided when DVH kind of said very publicly, and I'm guessing privately, you're not guaranteed a starting assignment anymore. I mean, you get to that point of the year where even if you've been a starter last year or this year, if you don't play well, you might not be in that lineup the next day.
Yeah, they kind of lit a fire under this Razorback team.
Kojal takes strike 3. I don't think he was expecting that good of a pitch. 0-2, but Vigu paints, and there's 2 outs.
Well, I tell you what, Vigu's got just tremendous bite. That's a breaking ball with a spin rate over 2,500, and as a hitter, I think you just give up on it as it comes out of the hand, and then it just knifes right back over the plate.
That had a little backdoor action to it as well. And it brings up Damian Ruiz. Ruiz became the 8th different Razorback to bat in the cleanup spot. That feels like a high number. You know, sometimes you have 1 or 2 guys, you leave them in that position. But he has become the cleanup hitter. But in the 4 games since he returned after missing 6, he's also reached base at least twice. So he's taking kind of that on-base leadoff type skill, and he's just been thrown into that 4 spot in the Razorback lineup.
Yeah, I guess so, but any way you can get on base. But, yeah, it just talks about DVH trying to tweak this lineup and anything he can to try to get some run production. And, yeah, that's very unusual to have 8 different guys in that 4 spot. It's pretty crazy.
I know in baseball, in Major League Baseball, they're talking about the fact that the cleanup hitter no longer is what you thought it was 10 or 15 years ago. Even this weekend, it was Judge and Trout both batting second in their lineups for the Yankees and Angels. However, you still think it's one of your top 3 or 4 best hitters and a guy who's going to get a lot of RBI situations. But to have 8 different cleanup hitters this year, and we're only basically in mid-April.
Yeah, it's definitely very unusual, and Helfrich's getting a lot of attention by Vigu over there at first base.
6 stolen bases for Ryder. To strike to Ruiz. Helfrich was thrown out by Jackson trying to go from second to third on what he anticipated being a dirt ball, and Jackson pounced on it, gunned him down at third last night.
Helfrich spun out a couple times just trying to get back to the bag.
Ground ball to Branch. That's a long flip to win, but it forces Helfrich to end the inning. Each team with a hit in the first, but no runs. Pushed across here in the middle game. This weekend series between the Dogs and Hogs. Back at Baum Walker Stadium, this game moves into the top of the second inning. Bulldogs and the Razorbacks, a Georgia team, Troy, that over their first 8 series of the season won every single one of those and had 5 sweeps. But they lose to Florida last weekend 2 out of 3. And now Wes Johnson knows his team needs to win the next 2 games if they're to win this series.
Yeah, I think so. They faced a really good Florida team that's got probably arguably 2 of the best starters in the whole league. And they can really pitch it.
Here's Henry Allen, another one of those double-figure home run hitters, though, for the Bulldogs. Let's say a young man that's a little bit confused. He grew up in Auburn, Alabama. Then he went to Mississippi State, and he finds his way to Georgia.
Yeah, that's trying to figure out where your loyalty lies right there.
That one's ripped to left. He ambushed a pitch from Gibbler and sends one to the hog pen. Henry Allen starts the scoring with home run number 12, and that's what this Georgia Bulldog team does. They swing for the fences and create some impact. 477 feet
that
of
ball
Henry Allen
was destroyed. I mean, 477 feet. I think I could hit that far if I hit it 3 times.
Can that be right?
That was unbelievable.
There was a 514-foot home run this year from UCLA in Iowa City when the wind was blowing out about 30 miles an hour. I mean, I think it landed in a different county, but at 477, that's at least 10 or 15 feet further than the longest homer that's been hit in the big leagues this year at 460-ish.
I mean, you can't blame Allen to watch that one a little bit. I mean, I would have to stand there at home plate for at least 10 seconds. My goodness.
It's a happy bunch of Bulldogs as Michael O'Shaughnessy took ball 1. Davidson transfer. Left on left here against Gibbler. Threw it by him, a fastball at 91. This Georgia team, Troy, when they did lose that series to Florida, they did not hit a home run. And again, when you look and identify a reason why they may have finally dropped an SEC series, it was because that long ball was not prevalent against those Gators pitchers. Because here's what they've done in some of their series, in order. In Queens, in a 4-game series, they hit 18 home runs. Tennessee 5. A&M, they hit 11. South Carolina 3. Mississippi State 6. Then the donut against the Gators, and now 3 against the Razorbacks.
Yeah, that'll kind of figure out what happened against Florida, and just a hat tip to that pitching squad of the Gators.
Here's one more for you. And what Georgia's done offensively this year, it's really kind of Georgia's offense against Arkansas's pitching, at least if you want a subplot. Entering action yesterday. And O'Shaughnessy hits one hard that Souza will come up with. Able to pop up and throw out O'Shaughnessy. It's a nice play from Nolan Souza for out number 1.
Again, we talked about just hard hit balls by the Gators. How about 102 by Michael O'Shaughnessy? And that's when it helps to have a 6'3" second baseman.
Yeah, that was smooth, baby. It had to pop up out of that dive.
Again, to be 6'3" and be that athletic at that position, that's pretty impressive.
Here's Ryan Wynn, homered last night, a couple of years at Wofford. And takes one for a low strike. But Troy, entering action last night, Georgia had scored as many runs in the first 4 innings of their season as their opponents had done in the entirety of 9+, because there have been a few extra inning games. So 10 innings in what the Bulldogs had scored in the first 4 over the season. Another 0-2 count.
It just shows how dangerous this team is, and again, how they get out to a really hot start.
Gibbler, though, would like to bounce back and set down 3 in a row. So 2 pitches downstairs.
Well, if you rewind to yesterday's game, the Bulldogs hit 2 solo home runs, and that's the only thing that Hunter Dietz gave up. But I think if you can just hold them to single-digit home runs or just a single home runs, that's big.
Wynn expands the zone, waves and misses, and that is strikeout number 2 for Gibbler.
Well, I tell you what, the thing with Gibbler is, because he's got that big overhand slider, I think sometimes hitters will chase that ball up in the zone because they look at that release point and they go, okay, that could be the cutter that's going to drop down in for a strike.
I think you're right. There's Colby Branch, the shortstop. Colby Branch has hit 13 homers out of the 8 spot. Troy, he is at 49 in his career.
Okay, just to think about that, that's the 8-hole hitter for the Bulldogs. That is more than any Razorback.
That is correct. And he also has 231 career hits. So remember the storyline when Zach Stewart hit his 50th. He was one of a very small list of players actively in college baseball with at least 50 homers and at least 200 hits. Well, Branch is at 231 in the hit column, so if he gets to the nifty 50, he'll join that list as well.
Yeah, that's definitely going to happen.
Knocked down by Pompey, able to pick it up flat-footed. Throws to first to retire Branch and end the inning. But Henry Allen with the long solo homer to start the scoring, and the Bulldogs with a 1-0 lead at Baum Walker. The head hog in his 24th season. He's Arkansas's head coach. Has his team on a bit of a heater after a stretch that he said the locals were starting to lose their minds a bit when Arkansas was swept at home by the Florida Gators. And on the other side is a former DVH assistant, Wes Johnson. And Troy, this is his first time back in this ballpark since he was a pitching coach here in 2018. But somebody that's been Nolan Souza first, skying one down the line and left another play. He's a longtime Arkansas native. He made Fayetteville his home after he left to go to the Minnesota Twins. He's been a high school assistant coach, a high school head coach, an assistant in the college ranks. He's done about everything you can in this state except be a head coach here at Baum Walker.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. And yeah, I think we've got a stat of that, or of all the stops that Wes Johnson has made. But yeah, he has definitely paid his dues.
Nolan Souza leading off the bottom of the second inning. It was 1 year ago on April the 11th at Georgia that Souza went sprawling into third base, tore up the shoulder, and forced him to miss the rest of the season and the fall. He did not get cleared to swing the bat until Arkansas completed its fall campaign. So when I said to him around the batting cage yesterday, I said, "Hey, wasn't it?" He goes, "Yes." I said, "I didn't finish." He goes, "Yeah, it was Georgia last year." And Souza skies another one down the line and left, and the winds will work that well back and on a play.
Yeah, I don't think everybody, fans and even coaches alike, realized how bad that shoulder was torn up in that dive back to third base by Nolan Souza. And again, he has worked tremendously hard to get back. I mean, the throwing motion's kind of three-quarters or a little bit lower arm slot, but he's really starting to feel it offensively.
Take strike three. Figure continues to get some late movement and run in his pitches. That's a second strikeout.
Well, that backdoor slider cutter has been really vicious. Watch this thing. It looks like it's going to start off the plate, and then it just really just knifes right down into the zone. That is absolutely filthy.
Arkansas faced him a couple of years ago at Globe Life. And it's one where probably feels a little more than a couple of years ago as Mike Anu steps in and takes a big wave at a miss. But it was on the 2024 season. Vigu was a freshman, allowed 3 runs on 1 hit and 6 walks during 3 2/3 innings.
Is that for Michigan?
It was, and he hit 3 batters and threw a wild pitch. Arkansas won the game 4-3. They had only 5 hits. Mason Molina pitched against him. Ben McLaughlin had a couple of base hits. But at least Arkansas has seen Vigu, and in a sense, they saw a little bit of everything. As New takes a well-placed fastball for a strike. I mean, when you're hitting 3 guys and walking 6, but you're also seeing the movement we're seeing tonight.
Yeah, it's special, and he looks like one of those guys that throws a heavy baseball.
It does.
And it just, I think it's the spin rate on the fastball, and it just kind of has some sink, and it just kind of bears down and in on right-handers. It'd be interesting to talk to Jackson and say, what does your hand feel like after catching a game by Dylan Vigu? Have to get a little extra padding in there.
New a night ago went 1 for 3. Micah looked at me before the series started, and he went 0 for 9 at Alabama. And he said, I need to stop hitting them where they are positioned, or I need to stop hitting them into the wind. And yesterday he had a swinging bunt for a hit, and I said, hey, did that kind of balance it? No, it didn't balance
Not
out.
yet.
Not yet. It's fouled away. But he did add he likes where he's at right now with his swing because, hey, we're kind of at that halfway point plus in the SEC where you've gone through the gauntlet and you know what's ahead in the home stretch is going to be equally as difficult, if not more so.
Yeah, I think so. And I tell you what, I am super impressed so far by Dylan Vigu and not throwing anything straight.
That pitch backed up on him, but he got New to wave and miss. So back-to-back strikeouts to begin the bottom of the 2nd inning.
Like you said, that was a cutter that didn't cut, but the result was outstanding. And we talked about him being effectively wild, and I think he has just enough where he's just not completely filling up the strike zone with everything. And the thing that's crazy is his spin rate on the fastball is almost as much as it is on his breaking balls, and they're tight.
He's got some wiffle ball tendencies, some of the movement. But, as you mentioned, it's a heavy pitch, and you see that ball plop in for a strike to Stewart. Stewart did not play last night. It was Aloy in the DH spot. Stewart tonight. Stewart has the best batting average against non-con opponents at .396. But again, part of the storyline for Arkansas, and this is something Dave has touched on over and over again in the last couple of weeks, there's some guys with some SEC numbers that he knows will probably get better as we go along, but they're deep enough to have a little bit of concern.
Right, and it's like you just keep riding a guy out that you know can hit, but he just hasn't shown it yet.
I think that's the question,
and
isn't
then,
it?
And then I think the hard part for DVH is where do you play some of these guys to get everybody into the lineup?
Especially with Ruiz back and healthy. And listen, when he got injured with that patellar tendon, we thought it might be a long time before we'd see him again, maybe a month, and Dave might have believed the same thing, but all of a sudden he pops back into that Alabama series. He's moving well, running well. So that means Rutenbar is no longer really always needed in the outfield, or if you put him out there, then Zach Stewart or Aloy has to DH, or Robinette has to sit at first if Rutenbar plays first base.
Right, it's definitely a chess match that Dave Van Horn has to make, and I think that's why he really just locks into every batting practice every day just to see how guys are swinging the bat.
Here's a payoff pitch to Stewart. Clubs one high and foul, down the line and left and out of play.
Brett, I'll tell you something else. The way this wind is blowing, and it's typical Baum Walker Stadium, basically from right field foul pole to left field foul pole, might push something out down the left field line, but boy, fly balls and pop-ups, it could be an absolute adventure tonight.
No, I think not only with the wind, but it's that time of the night. There's a pitch, too much movement, and Stewart able to take it for ball 4. First walk from Vigu, and a 2-out base runner for the Razorbacks.
Yeah, that is one thing that's tough. When you've got tremendous movement and you're just trying to fill up the strike zone with a fastball and it starts down the middle and it finishes 6 inches off the plate, that's tough. It's like me trying to guide my slice into the fairway. That doesn't work very well.
Reese Robinette batting in the 8th spot in this Arkansas lineup. Homer and 19 knocked in. Looks to strike 1.
Again, that's a fastball that almost has 2,500 spin rate.
I mean, we see some pitchers with
electric.
breaking balls that don't have that much spin. So that's where you get some of the movement, whether it's backdoor, whether it's tumbling or sinking action that I think we've seen give these hitters fits, as far as kind of a look when a ball finishes in a spot they didn't think it could possibly end.
With the tail that Vigu has, if he could throw an inside fastball that starts kind of off the plate in, for that,
goodness,
that's exceptional.
Again, really good against the Florida Gators. Control problems 2 starts ago against Mississippi State. Looking pretty good so far tonight. Gets Robinette to wave and miss. That's 3 strikeouts in the inning for Vigu. Around the walk, couple of innings complete in the middle game of the series, and the Dogs have a 1-0 advantage. Mother Nature's painting quite a canvas with that shot at Baumwalker Stadium as we go to the 3rd inning. The hard-hitting Georgia Bulldogs with a 1-0 lead. Send up Black, Phelps, and Jackson and Troy. This is where they rank in the offensive categories. Only 10th, I say, in runs per game, but OPS number 2 and home runs number 1.
It's off the chart with the 102 home runs this early in the season. And again, they have an offensive ballpark. Wes Johnson definitely said that, and we asked him, you know, in the call before the series, and said, are you surprised by the power you have? And he goes, no, not really. He said, we knew we have some guys that can really swing the bat, and they've got some physical specimens on this team as well.
Even Ryan Black, 6 home runs in the 9th spot, facing Gibbler, lifting one very high in the air to center field. Does New see it? He did not. Every once in a while they deke you just for fun, but he truly didn't see it.
Yeah, you mentioned it, that this is the time of night that when the baseball gets above the lights, it just almost disappears. And Camden Kojal started pointing at it, and then he thought that New saw it. I think the infielders are just going to have to point it out for about the next 30 minutes.
Here's Trey Phelps. Troy, when I saw him hit last night, Phelps, I had an immediate comp. Not necessarily from true yesteryear, but sort of. I want you to look at his stance. You see where those hands are, the way he sets up? And he's going to smoke one to third that Pompey will make the catch for out number 2.
Are you thinking Gary Sheffield?
Well,
no, Gary Sheffield did that.
He did.
Above what?
only.
Oh, Eric Davis.
Eric Davis.
There you go.
How about that
The
right
big
there?
red
Is that Eric
machine.
Davis?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you see where the hands are. He was thin, but he could run. He could hit for power. And the funny part is, you saw me go talk to Phelps today, but you didn't know what I was saying.
Uh-huh.
And I went down there and I said, hey, by the way, have you ever heard of Eric Davis? And he looked at me like, who are you and what is Eric Davis? As Daniel Jackson comes in, I said, hey, I'm going to tell you, drop a Google on Eric Davis tonight. It's worth 30 seconds
There you
because
go.
you look a lot like him. And it's not just the red uniforms. It's the hands.
Well, I've got to tell you,
You
Brett.
got it right, too. I
Yeah.
thought you might get it right. Normally,
Yeah.
I have no confidence in you.
Yeah.
As Gibbler just misses to Jackson.
Thanks for the vote of confidence
No,
right there
I
and
was
or
right.
lack thereof. But I actually swung that like that my sophomore year, and then my
Didn't
junior
work?
year I couldn't. It worked great my sophomore year.
Okay.
Then I hit nothing but fly balls my junior and had to move the hands up higher.
Gibbler's falling behind Jackson 3-0.
I'm not saying I'm not a Trey Phelps. I don't have near his
Did you have
talent.
that necklace around your
No,
neck?
I
That
did not
thing is-
have.
That thing's
I
massive.
didn't have the bling that he's got. I just didn't have the cool factor.
No, that's true as well. 3-0 pitch. That's a low strike against Jackson. It was tied for first in home runs in this league, second in runs batted in, second in slugging percentage. It seems like the MVP in this SEC at this point might be between him and Caden Sorrell of Texas A&M. Sorrell is first in slug and second in runs batted in. He also has 17 home runs. But the one thing Jackson does really well, Troy, is run. And even Wes Johnson told us about his 18 stolen bases. He's never really had a catcher like him that can do the things like Jackson does as far as steal bases.
Well, here's the crazy thing is he's not just fast for a catcher. He's just fast. I mean, he runs like a 6.5 60 and which is really, really fast. I mean, just super athletic. And you better watch out because when he goes, he's pretty darn successful. How about 18 of 19 in stolen bases?
Well, that's
this
where I was
season?
heading as
Yeah.
Lujo steps in, the Dayton transfer, because this is a Georgia team that, quite frankly, does not run, with one exception. In a power hitting team, their best power hitter is their best runner, at least from a stolen base standpoint. Now, that's even more unusual. Gibbler issued the 2-out walk, and I would say normally, did that hit him? It did. Got him on the foot for Lujo. Walking a power hitter with the bases empty and 2 outs isn't the worst scenario, but Troy, there's no give behind him in this lineup.
Yeah, it just keeps coming. And again, you just don't want to dig yourself into a hole if you're a Razorback pitcher because of that power. I mean, you put a couple guys on in one big swing and you blink and it could be 4-0.
By the way, that's the 83rd time this year the Georgia Bulldogs have been hit. When you hit a lot of homers, you might get hit a lot. That's about 2 a game.
Well, and I don't think it's on purpose for the team. I think that they're just trying to be so careful and not throw it down the middle of the plate that sometimes you're going to plunk some guys when you're trying to nibble.
We're just trying to back guys off the dish every once in a while as Oriach takes strike one. He struck out looking against Gibbler back in the first. Now he's down in the count, 0-2.
Horach didn't like that one. That was a fastball down and in, and really good job by Ryder Helfrich, and he might have stolen a strike. Now you can't, if you're Gibbler, you have to keep this one completely out of the strike zone.
Oriach a season ago was at New Mexico. Led the team in runs, hits, doubles, runs batted in, OPS, and finished first in the Mountain West in hits and doubles and runs scored and on base and slug. He's up on that tippy toe, stands upright in the box and hooks one on the ground into right for a base hit. Rutenbar was way over in the gap, so he has no chance to get Jackson, and the Bulldogs have made it a 2-0 game. And Troy, that was a 2-strike hit where Oriach just covered a lot of the plate and served one between Sousa and Robinette.
Boy, I tell you what, it's really nice when you have the height that Oriach does to be able to get to this baseball. I mean, he used every bit of 6'5" and that arm span to go down and get that one down and away.
So a quick visit from Matt Hobbs.
but the walk comes around to score. Those free base runners just definitely come back to haunt you.
You know, Gibbler had retired 5 in a row, Troy, before that walk to Jackson, and all of a sudden it's walk, hit batter, and a single, and George just made it a 2-0 game.
Well, then the other thing that happens is the runner goes from first to third. Now, if you're Gibbler, you really, and you've got a pretty good backstop back there, but you kind of think twice about like spiking one, especially with 2 strikes.
I think it has to be a little bit of a concern. I think Arkansas has done more damage scoring on wild pitches and pass balls this year than any team in the universe.
It's part of their offense, I believe.
They don't want to give it back. They don't want that number to even up.
Kind of like takeaways in football, right?
Exactly. Henry Allen takes the ball. Troy, his homer against Gibbler in the second. Trackman read it at 477. Now, I think Trackman has a little bit of a estimation to it, but that ball was, I don't know, above the bleachers, maybe in that area in the hog pen.
I will say I think it was compressed a little bit.
Yeah, it was
that
indeed.
Is probably a good statement.
It was home run number 103 on the season for the Georgia Bulldogs. That compares to 54 for Arkansas. And I think the concern is sometimes, and you pointed it out, you'll live with a few solo home runs. It's when a couple of guys get on base, too, that you're concerned about Allen finding number 2 somewhere in the hog pen.
I just put Allen on right here. It's 3-0. You've got a left-hander on. I don't make Gibbler throw another pitch. I just put a 4 up and just try to deal with O'Shaughnessy.
Runners on the corners, 3-0 pitch, and that was skipped, and Helfrich did a nice job to come up with it. May have saved a run, but now the bases are loaded.
Yeah, Gibbler did not want any part of Allen on that at-bat. But here's the key. If I'm O'Shaughnessy, I'm pretty aggressive on this first pitch. I'm going to probably cut that plate in half. I'm going to probably maybe look something middle in that I can just absolutely hammer.
You see the 10 home runs. He bounced out to Souza in the second. Nolan made a nice play. Should have been aggressive. That's strike 1. A year ago at Davidson, Troy, 17 homers, 70 runs batted in. I think what Georgia's doing with their transfers, a little bit like what every team in this league's trying to do. They're trying to figure out how those mid-major numbers might look in the SEC when you're facing quality pitching on a regular basis. It's going to loop one out to center field. Mike Anu won't get there. It's going to take it on a bounce. A run will score. Here comes the throw to the plate. It bounces a couple of times, but it's still in time to cut down Oriach. That throw took its sweet time bounding towards the plate, but Helfrich applies the tag, but the Bulldogs get a couple of runs in the inning.
Boy, watch this jump by Mike Anu, Brett. He bounces right there. Great throw right on the money for the cut down at the plate.
Pen?
Oh, man.
If it's free, it's for me, and I'll take 2, but I don't think we're going to get any by the time he goes through the entire hog pen.
I don't see anybody turning those down either. They must be good.
Well, Arkansas staring at a 3-0 deficit, and they have just 1 hit through a couple of innings as Pompey, Rutenbar, and Helfrich come to the plate against Dylan Vigue, who's been really good. And
This is
Wes
interesting.
Johnson bringing the trainer out to the mound, Troy.
Gosh, you hope that Big U's okay, and Wes Johnson sees something that he doesn't like, or he just wants to talk to his right-hander to make sure that everything's okay.
You wonder if maybe they were tipped off between innings that Big U was bothered by something, or whether they noticed something on one of those warm-up pitches. And obviously Wes's background, Troy, is in pitching, so it's a head coach with an incredible pitching background. So he probably sees the game a little bit differently than a lot of other head coaches. And he's locked in with some of his guys, and usually this is one of two things. It's I'm not feeling good and you need to make a change, or I'm fine, go back to the dugout. But this seems to be
yeah, this is a long conversation, and Wes Johnson always has his players put above anything. He's like, hey, I want to make sure that my pitcher is comfortable, that there's not any injuries.
I thought maybe if there was a concern, they might have him throw a couple of pitches and observe from the mound. But what's interesting is Wes Johnson is left, but the trainer is not.
But there's nobody in the Georgia bullpen. That's the whole thing.
There's about to be some activity, I believe, in that bullpen. Nothing like an energy drink, too, to get you rolling in the third inning.
Big U's coming off the mound.
He's coming off the mound.
Wow, man. You hate that for him.
His stuff was really electric for the first couple of innings, but he will not start the third. So it's a pitching change break, and maybe an extended one at that, before the Razorbacks hit in the bottom of the third inning. Troy, we watched the Georgia starter Dylan Vigue throw his warm-up tosses before the athletic trainer and head coach Wes Johnson came to the mound. There was a rather lengthy conversation, and we weren't sure if this means he's going to stay in or he's going to leave, but Vigue eventually walked off, and then, as you pointed out, there was nobody in the Georgia bullpen, so they have to get guys to the pen even before they started warming up, and I don't even think we've gotten to that point yet.
No, they're just down there in the bullpen stretching, and you can see just trying to get loose, because the way that Dylan Vigue was throwing, nobody thought that they were going to come in for at least 30 or 45 minutes.
Well,
so
you get
rolling.
the unlimited number of warm-up tosses, but we haven't even gotten to the point where we've started throwing in the bullpen.
Yeah, this could be a 5, or it could be even like a 10-minute delay. It lasts at least 10 minutes.
It was Caden Aoki who was limbering up just a bit in the bullpen, but as you can see, now he's going to the bands. And keep in mind, there is the possibility of weather later on tonight, and we did start about, I don't know, you'll see Wes Johnson down there as well. We started an hour and 15 minutes later than our original start time.
I think that's a really good move by Wes Johnson, because he wants to reiterate to his pitcher, he's like, there is no reason to rush this process. So I think everybody, if you're in that situation, even like you see a pinch hitter sometimes, that they'll go up there, they might take one practice swing and, okay, I'm ready to hit. Well, not really. You need to loosen up a little bit more than that, but especially pitchers, because you do not want Aoki to injure himself trying to get there too fast.
I would agree completely, but at some point you got to start throwing something, don't you?
Yeah.
The bullpen.
He might, and now the next thing might be is a weighted ball against the wall or something. The bands are getting to work out.
I mean, now we're back to this thing again. Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Right. Now, I would say rushing things is not a concern right now for the Georgia Bulldogs. You know, this came as a really a heavyweight matchup entering this series. You're thinking about a Georgia team that had not lost a series until this past weekend against the Florida Gators. In Arkansas, with now 6 straight wins after the victory last night. And
well, I'll tell you one thing, though, Brett. If you're Nate Thompson, you've got plenty of time to talk to your hitters about the scouting report on Aoki. I mean, you've got like 10 minutes to talk to him.
No, you got time. You can go back to the locker room if you'd like to. You know, Troy, there's some star power on these two teams. That's evidenced by the fact you have good teams. And even some of the Golden Spikes, the midseason watch list, Ryder Helfrich was on that list, Daniel Jackson. And it was interesting when I started to go back and look at the recent Golden Spikes winners. How about this? We've had 3 of the past 5 have been from these two teams, including that incredible year that Charlie Condon had 37 homers in 2024. We know Fahiva last year was Arkansas's winner, and then Kevin Kopps. But if you go back even further with Andrew Benintendi, these two programs have combined for 4 of the last 9 Golden Spikes winners.
That's pretty crazy. And, yeah, tremendous talent from these programs. And I don't think he was a Golden Spikes winner, but I think about watching a guy like Gordon Beckham who played at Georgia was just absolutely electric. And
well, how about a Georgia native, Kyle Lewis, in 2016 for Mercer?
Right.
Won the Golden Spikes. And what's interesting, I think when you talk about the guy who's leading in the clubhouse, as the Bulldogs are just going to go ahead and come back into the dugout, I think the leader would have to be Landon Hairston of Arizona State, who has 23 homers in 39 games. And the question is, could he possibly catch Condon's 37 home run campaign, that number from a couple of years ago?
Yeah, it's pretty big, something to think about. And then you think about a guy that has an all-time home run leader in college baseball, Pete Incaviglia, with 48 home runs at Oklahoma State. Boy, I tell you what, a guy that could just absolutely destroy a baseball.
Different era, that's for sure. Funny part for Landon Hairston, when he was about to be born, his father Scott played in the big leagues. His uncle Jerry Hairston Jr., of course, played. Father Jerry Hairston Sr., the grandfather Sam played in the Negro Leagues. But when Landon was about to be born, my son was 2.5, and I would tell Scott and his wife, hey, do you want to take my kid for the weekend to see if you're parent ready? I should have given my kid to him for a longer stretch. Because
he could have been a guy that hit tremendous home runs.
Yes. So I knew Landon before he was born. He's trying to win a Golden Spikes to jump into that list with so many of these Bulldogs and Razorbacks in recent years. But right now we're in a waiting situation with Aoki throwing down in the bullpen. And Troy, I think he's finally gotten up on the mound, but because this injury to Vigneault, I guess, probably came out of nowhere. It has thrown this game into a grinding halt.
Yeah, even the our great crew was looking to see if they could see anything. If they could see anything about him when he was warming up, which was Vigneault, and they said they did not see any kind of grimace or anything. So it must have been something pretty slight. But I wonder if that was maybe Jackson the catcher, or if something that Wes Johnson saw. But I tell you what, you just hate that for Dylan Vigneault.
Funny thing is, Matt Hobbs told me a couple of weeks ago that sometimes with the metrics they have available on their tablets in the dugout, they might look at something beyond just release speed to give you an indication if a pitcher's tiring, or if there's something really wrong. You might have an indication based on some of the analytics or data you're getting and paying attention to in the dugout.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Matt Hobbs says before we jump into the RPI right here, but he even talked about like extension. You know, he said, okay, hey,
you get tired.
You get tired. You're not getting the extension. And he goes, that's a sign that we look at to see if this pitcher needs to come out of the ballgame.
Well, hey, here's your RPI in Georgia. Maybe a little bit of a surprise there at 20. But Troy, it was a couple of weeks ago. Arkansas was in that mid-50s range. And when you talk about trying to be a host, one of the 16 sites for a regional, you don't want an RPI in that 40-50 range. And with this win streak, the Hogs have jumped it up to 31.
I think it was as high as 59, Brett. It was pretty ugly.
I think you're right.
But, they swept Alabama on the road, who had a number 2 RPI rating at the time. They're 5. So that was a tremendous boost for them. And if they can find a way to win 2 or 3, even here at home against the Georgia Bulldogs, I mean, I think that's going to be another thing that's going to continue to push them up the ladder.
I would agree. We'll see how these numbers change going forward for Arkansas. That's big that they moved up to 31. Funny thing is, you look at UCLA, number 1, and Troy, they had their 27-game win streak ended midweek. They didn't lose in the month of March. They had not lost in April. They fell to Santa Barbara on Tuesday. The interesting part was they were wearing their Jackie Robinson uniforms. They play in Jackie Robinson Stadium.
Right.
Of course, he's an alum. And last Friday, though, was a bizarre game. There's nothing like a conference game, UCLA going to Rutgers. And their pitcher, Logan Redeman, Troy, struck out 18. And it was in 8 innings. He didn't get the win. The Bruins had to win 4-1 in 14 innings, and UCLA struck out 30 in that game. 30.
That's just mind-boggling.
This was a team that had a lot of talent as freshmen that they went in that lineup and took some lumps. Last year, they got to the World Series. They added Gasparino, Redeman. Rock Chalowski was right there with Fahiva Loy for some of the Players of the Year awards a season ago. But they have been number 1 in every poll this season. A 27-game winning streak. And right now, that's the team. Keep in mind, say Arkansas sneaks in as a 16 seed and they do get to host a regional, and if they win, they would more than likely line up with UCLA in LA for a super.
Yeah, and that's something that's just a scary proposition if you're Arkansas. But, you think about it, would they be better off talking Arkansas? Would they be better off being a 2 seed somewhere else and not get matched up with UCLA?
You might be right. Go to Kansas, someplace else regionally. Obviously, Arkansas had good success when they had to go to Oklahoma State because
right.
You're not going to be a 2 seed in another SEC regional.
Right.
So you'd have to face a team from the Big 12, ACC, or Big 10. Finish that thought, though, in UCLA. It would be fun if Arkansas did get a chance to go up against the Bruins, but I don't think you ever want to go up against the number 1 seed. Strength of schedule for the Hogs at 36. Right now they're projected to be a 2 seed in Tallahassee, so again they'd be a 2 seed but outside of the region. And it looks like maybe Caden Aoki is...
Oh, it looks like it's got a little bit of rain. Can you see? Look at the rain and the...
Oh, goodness. We've waited long enough that now the rain has come back.
You can see it sprinkling on the green wall. There it is.
Poppy.
There it is. Let's just throw another factor into this.
I mean, we've had some twists and turns in this game, and we had a shot a couple of moments ago of Nate Thompson surrounding the hitters in the dugout, and I'm sure they were going over a scouting report, an in-game conference or meeting for Aoki, and before he could even get there, Troy, if this...
It's starting to come down pretty good.
I mean, if they had to pull the tarp after he took, that time to get ready, it would really throw his outing out of whack.
Yeah, this is
goodness
pretty wild. But a little bit about Caden Aoki. He has thrown in his career, how about this number, 253 2/3 innings in his college career. He's going to sit right around 90 miles an hour with that fastball, has some run with it. Really, really good control does Aoki have. You can see the Huntington Beach native. Just really good stuff. And again, he's a guy that he's not going to overpower you. He's just going to fill up the zone.
So waiting for Aoki to throw on the mound, and let's all hope that the sprinkles and the rain stops. That's what he did against Florida 3 hitless and scoreless innings with a walk and 5 strikeouts.
Well, that's what you expect out of Aoki, is command, only the 1 walk on those 45 pitches. And that might have been one of those ones that you almost pitch around somebody in a lineup. Okay, now who's the comp pitcher do you think he looks like?
What do you got?
I got Dennis Martinez.
I do too. El Presidente El Perfecto.
That's right. Got some lookalikes in this ball game.
Sprinkles have stopped. I think TJ Pompey ready to head to the plate. You know, we talk about how this league will test you week in and week out, and teams that one week they get swept, that sweep the next week. You know, TJ Pompey going into that Alabama series was 1 for 16. He finished the weekend as the SEC Player of the Week, 6 for 12, couple of home runs, 8 homers on the year. And Troy, he's really kind of changed something mechanically that we might have a chance to watch depending on how long this at bat might go from Aoki. Here's the first pitch. He's going to foul one back and out of play. He's talked about getting into his back leg.
Yeah,
you could see him kind of squat or sink as he gets ready to swing.
Yeah, he has definitely got down in his legs. I think that's where the power's come from. But the upper body has stayed very quiet, and he's not jumping toward the pitcher. That body's not floating out toward the mound.
Well, they're related because he mentioned, Troy, when he wasn't getting into that back leg or hinging that back hip, the body has to do something. And what it does to create a little momentum is drift forward. You don't have to go find the baseball. You have to wait for it to come to you. I think this keeps him a little more stationary. And you'll watch him all of a sudden as that pitch is about to be delivered. He will squat. He will sink a bit right here. And then just smokes one to third, but Phelps picks it. Pops up, throws to first. How about O'Shaughnessy? Outstanding on both ends of a play that TJ Pompey hit a ball 109 off his bat.
You cannot hit a ball any harder, and what a great play by Trey Phelps. 109, again, just absolutely scorched. And again, love how Trey Phelps took his time. He did kind of throw one in the dirt, and that's a great stretch by O'Shaughnessy.
What a play. Sometimes you don't see those plays on the college game where it takes an incredible stop and then a pick, but you did there in the college game, and that is Rutenbar with a soft chopper to win. Aoki has recorded a couple of ground ball outs before he gets Ryder Helfrich, who has Arkansas's lone hit. Ryder hovering on the verge of getting to 300 or beyond again. Aoki comes with the curve and rolls it in for strike 1.
Well, that's had some hang time on that one.
Did.
Almost 2,700 on the spin rate. Whew.
Georgia got a run in the second, couple of runs in the top of this inning. Vigu's out of the game, but the Hogs have some work to do. Then again, in that Alabama series that Arkansas swept, they were trailing 3-1, 3-1, and 2-0 over those 3 games. Sometimes late.
Yeah, I think so. They really exploded. I think the 8th inning was their inning that they just really went crazy on. And I think this is what you have to do against a really crafty righty. And Aoki is, you just got to see the baseball up in the zone. He's got so much sink and command. He is just going to try to get you to expand that strike zone and fish just a little bit.
See his jersey blown in the breeze as he delivers a 2-1 pitch that is off the corner to Helfrich. Ryder does have 38 walks. One of the more patient hitters, not just in this conference, but in the country. Tied for second in the league in base on balls. Aoki is a strike thrower, though, and he comes back to find the mark at the knees to run the count full.
Aoki's got Helfrich talking to himself.
Sure
now.
does. Ryder held some conversations with himself. 3-2 pitch is spanked out to right center field. Lujo on the move into a slide, and Troy, that's 2 fantastic defensive plays this inning for the Bulldogs.
Boy, the wind just continued to knock that baseball down. It looked like that Lujo was going to be able to catch that ball easily, and it just continued to fade away from him. I think Black almost gave up on that a little too quickly, but what a great range by Lujo.
Bulldogs off to a good start tonight, trying to even up this series at a game apiece, leading the Razorbacks 3-0 as Cole Gabler goes back to work in the 4th inning against Wynn, Branch, and Black, 7, 8, and 9. We mentioned that Georgia finally lost a series last weekend to Florida, a same team, Troy, that swept Arkansas but lost to Jacksonville, then lost to Bethune-Cookman after they took 2 out of 3 from Georgia. Wynn smokes one down the line and left, but it's going foul by a few feet. Think about Mississippi State. Arkansas, I think, was really happy to win that series against the Bulldogs. Then Mississippi State swept Vandy. They run-ruled Southern Miss, swept Ole Miss, and you thought, well, yeah, this is a really good team. Then they turned around. They got swept by the Georgia Bulldogs and swept by Tennessee. So you try to figure this league out.
You just can't. It's a whole lot of nonsense happening. I think just everybody beats up on everyone else, and it just shows how talented this team, like the Tennessee Volunteers, are really getting hot right now, playing some really good baseball under Josh Elander. And boy, I tell you, so the Missouri Tigers as well too. You know, a team that everybody kind of says, okay, well, they might be in the bottom part of the league, and they're playing some pretty good baseball.
Well, you know, Texas A&M, Troy, lost to Georgia at home, 2 out of 3, and they had lost 2 out of 3 the week prior to Oklahoma. As Wynn fouls one back and out of play, that will be out of the reach of Robinette. So then A&M swept Mizzou. They won 2 out of 3 against Vandy, and they took down Texas in both games last weekend before the 9-hour rain delay wiped out Game 3. And all of a sudden, they're right there with the Georgia Bulldogs. It's a happy fan. I think we all understand why this league is crazier than ever. As Wynn takes a 0-2 pitch and hits it high in the air to left center field. New on the move, back into the gap. Wynn pushing it away from him, but he'll track it down. Wow, did he have to cover a lot of the acreage here at Baum-Walker Stadium to make that catch.
I bet he ran 120 feet to catch that baseball. That was absolutely crazy.
I mean, he was over into right center and had to run all the way to left center field and didn't have to leave his feet. Here's Colby Branch. He bounced to third in his only at bat. It's a little bit out. We're going to take a look at that again. I want to finish that thought, though, on kind of this league. I think we understand, Troy, why everything is out of whack. I mean, money has kind of diluted teams being able to hold talent in reserve, so to speak, and roster limits are a factor. There's player movement. But Matt Hobbs and I were kind of breaking this down the other day, and I said, give me one more reason why it's this chaotic. That's on the ground, sharply hit to Kojal. He's got it. Throws out Branch, and there's 2 gone. Let's go back, though, and take a look at how much ground Micah New had to cover to see where he set up.
Yeah, that is a kind of like a half-moon arc. I don't think he went straight to where the baseball is going to go. I think he was running out toward the batter's eye and then kind of made a left-hand turn.
Sure did. And there's 2 gone for Ryan Black. All right, so here's what Hobbs told me. And I think it made sense maybe to kind of dumb it down for guys like you and me who need things dumbed down.
Okay.
He said in years past, a good team might be able to play poorly and still win. He said, you're going to play well some days and lose. But if you don't play well and don't play well for a weekend, you're going to get swept.
Yeah.
You're not going to sneak a win out here or there.
Right.
Because the other teams are older. They're not intimidated by crowds. They've played 150 college baseball games. If you're not playing well one weekend, no matter who you're playing, you're in danger of getting swept.
Yeah, I think that's a really good statement. And again, we talk about being older, and I don't care where you're from, but if you have 150 or 200 at-bats under your belt and you come in the SEC and you can play, that's impressive.
It's a soft chopper to Robinette. He'll retire. Ryan Black. Gibbler needed that one. A quick 1-2-3 inning. Arkansas back to bat in the bottom of the 4th, down by 3. The sights and sounds of Baum Walker Stadium. We've dodged some rain, maybe some lightning. In-game pitching change due to injury. And a little bit of everything. I feel like there's a few more twists and turns ahead. But for Camden Kojal, Troy, there have been a few twists and turns. And you're talking about batting average and the disparity. And I don't feel like Camden swung the bat poorly at all in league games. But the numbers haven't been, I'm sure, what he would like.
Right. I mean, the guy just has tremendous talent. And, again, I think he was really pressing early on in the conference season when so many Razorbacks were just completely off offensively.
Because this is still a guy who's 1 homer away from double figures in that category, 6th in the SEC in those runs batted in. Is that a swing? It is not. Jeff Head had a good look. Even the other day in that game in North Little Rock, Kojal scored the run to run rule UAPB by tagging on a pop-up that was in foul territory that looked like he was dropped. And you might be saying, what?
Well, first of all, it was caught about 5 to 10 feet behind the cut of the grass of the infield, where the infield dirt and the outfield grass meet. And it was caught and it was dropped on the exchange. It's like 100 feet away from home plate, and Kojal scores for the 10th run, 12th run, the
Right.
10-run rule. It was pretty crazy.
It saved him probably, half hour, 45 minutes, got him back on the bus and home. And I don't think many guys would have done that, though,
No.
outside of Kozel. His understanding, whatnot, he is going to swing and foul one from Aoki at the plate. But, I mean, there was some debate whether it was just simply dropped or it was caught and then the drop occurred on the exchange. Either way, when have you ever seen a game where it looked like a ball was dropped in foul territory that ended the game?
Well, and then the guy who caught it was all he was trying to be concerned with was, hey, I caught that ball and I dropped it on the exchange. He didn't even realize that the run was the 10th run.
It got a sac fly for the Razorbacks, and that one is skied high in the air, left center field. This is a long run for Lujo. My goodness, he finished in very shallow center. And Branch got out of his way for the first out. Bulldogs had a couple of sensational defensive plays last inning, and this was tougher than it looks as just an F8 in your scorebook.
If that was a punt, that had some tremendous hang time on it. I tell you
Okay.
what, and Lou all got around that ball with the way the wind's blowing and really kind of let that baseball come back to him. That's a really nice play.
There's Damian Ruiz, grounded out to end the first. And in this week of Major League Baseball, with all the teams wearing number 42 to honor Jackie Robinson, you probably noticed all year that Damian Ruiz has been wearing number 42. And it's not a coincidence. He wears it to honor Jackie Robinson. And it's a number, Troy, that you see a lot of maybe in high school or travel ball because individuals might want to honor Jackie in their own way. But you don't see it at the big league level outside of this week when all the teams
That's
wear it
right.
for a game.
Yeah, it's really cool tribute that what Ruiz has done right there.
His last couple of years at Lamar and then Houston Christian, he wore number 3, and he told me yesterday that, hey, I want to wrap up this college run by going back to 42 like I did in travel ball and honor Jackie Robinson.
It's a pretty good guy to model.
I would say so. That's a strike.
Oh,
Of course, the UCLA Bruins, so we touched on them earlier, they broke out their Jackie Robinson uniforms this weekend. It was the day that their 27-game win streak was.
That's so tough.
Don't you know somebody in the clubhouse is saying, hey, it's great, but darn it?
Yeah, let's wait and do that another time.
Because ball players draw a line between A and B without any hesitation. A causes B.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
why, yeah.
You know, a duck flew over the stadium
That's
and I
why
went
I
0
lost.
for 3.
Yep,
That's
yep, I agree. And it's without debate. It's like, well, that was the cause. That's why. We took a different route with the bus. The uniforms weren't hanging in the right spot,
I didn't wear my lucky socks.
Yes. Here's a payoff to Damien. And that is just outside. Well, the Razorbacks haven't had a base runner since Stewart walked in the second. That feels like yesterday.
It really does. And again, with that 15-minute delay, I think that's kind of the approach that you have to have against Aoki is just be really patient. You have to see the ball up in the zone. He's going to be a guy that nibbles and just paints those corners. But you can't give up on the overhand breaking ball that's going to start about your bill as a hitter because it's going to end up in the strike zone. It's the one that starts at your waist and it's going to end up your toes that you have to lay off of.
I do feel like you're right. It's kind of a battle of wills when you face a guy like Aoki. As Sousa takes one down. With what he has done this season and previously in his college career, he's thrown more than 250 innings in a college game.
A lot.
I mean, that's crazy. This guy like Peyton Paulette, who was here for 3 years.
He didn't throw 50.
Between being hurt and the COVID season, hardly threw it all. Or even 100 Dietz, who will be here for 3 years and probably not throw very many.
Hurt for 2 of the 3.
He's given Arkansas's hitters a lot to look at, though.
Ruiz kind of bluffed over there at first base. I think you're down by 3 runs. The wind's kind of died down, so I think if Arkansas does have some guys that can run one out of the yard, I don't think you run yourself out of an inning right here.
I've been saying this for a couple of weeks, though, in regards to Nolan Sousa. I feel like there's going to be a run of homers. He's hit well, certainly as of late, but has 2 homers on the season. We've seen him with kind of a line drive stroke really kind of be able to go foul pole to foul pole. but maybe there's more coming at some point. Ruiz is running, got a good break, got a good pitch to go on, and tumbles in there safely. Even down 3, I'm with you. He had to pick the right pitch so he didn't get thrown out to get his 11th stolen base of the season.
Yeah, that was a good job. Souza swung through that. I think that was definitely a hit and run. He was trying to protect his runner, but an absolute rocket by Jackson to make that play just even close when it shouldn't even have been anywhere near that close.
Did he offer? Yes, he did. Will Van Rapport says that is a swinging strike 3.
Well, I don't think Nate Thompson and Dave Van Horn are very happy at all on that one. Let's see if that barrelhead comes across the zone.
Still one you got to appeal, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Two outs for Mike Anu, who struck out back in the second. That was against the starter, Vigu.
Well, I feel like if you're an Arkansas fan, you just feel like the Hogs need to push something across right here. Just get a flare down the right field line by New. Just something to get a run on the board and have some positive momentum. Again, only one base hit so far against these Bulldog pitchers.
Feels like you're trying to settle in against Vigu, and all of a sudden then you get Aoki's throwing multiple pitches in different quadrants to try and keep these hitters off balance.
Well, both of the Georgia pitchers looked like they're throwing wiffle balls. It was Vigu who was throwing a 95-mile-an-hour wiffle ball.
It's on the ground but foul outside of third base.
Aoki's just throwing a bunch of spinning stuff and stuff. Neither pitcher has thrown anything that looks straight at this point. They have got some serious movement. I think New's going to see something that breaking ball or change up down in the zone, and that's where you're going to have to see if you can lay off this pitch.
It's off the corner. Last year, Aoki at USC was 6-4. 17 appearances, 16 starts, 90 strikeouts, and 97 innings. His strikeout to walk ratio last year was 6.5.
That's absurd.
I mean, 2.5 to 1 is really good. It's outside. The count has gone full to Mike Anu. Freshman year, Aoki started at Notre Dame. And that was a Fighting Irish team that went to the College World Series. So he has been at Notre Dame, USC, and now Georgia, and just misses to New. So a couple of walks this inning is give Arkansas a little bit of hope, and they'll bring the tying run to the plate in the presence of Zach Stewart.
I think that was an absolute great at-bat by Mike Anu. You've got a guy that has really nasty stuff that everything he throws looks like it starts in the zone then just knives down. And Arkansas's got a guy in Zach Stewart at the plate. Again, they said 50 home runs in his career. Can definitely hit it through the wind, but also shoot one out to left and left center.
Stewart walked in the second. Takes that floater for strike 1.
Yeah, big overhand curve by Aoki right there. That's the one he likes to throw and get ahead in the count. Again, out of the hand, it doesn't look like it's going to be a strike. And now he's going to start it down the middle and really keep things under the knees of Stewart right here.
First to pick at second. Ruiz back in diving.
I think Ruiz kind of stood up a little bit too fast and really kind of got tangled up with Branch right there. I was kind of apologizing for, hey, I didn't mean to kind of come up and get in your grill.
Arkansas has stolen 6 bases so far this weekend. That is fair, fielded by O'Shaughnessy behind the base. Stewart retired. Arkansas strands a couple of runners. Bulldogs maintain a 3-0 lead here at Baum Walker. somewhat subdued hog pen. Tell you what, Troy, when it's late at night and it's dark out there and there's been a little rain and it gets a little sloppy, all bets are off right there in the hog pen.
Got to break out the
that
blankets.
cold?
I don't know. I think they're just getting tired.
Maybe. Need some Mountain Dew, some energy drinks, and maybe some Razorback runs, but Georgia doing their best to take this crowd out of the game. Here's Phelps, hard hit, backhanded by Kojal. He made a nice play from short last night and fires a strike across the diamond to retire Phelps to begin the 5th inning.
You know, it's such a different throw from shortstop all the way across that diamond than it is from second base, and it seems like Camden Kojal's really settled in at that position, and again, puts a little something else on it, just kind of changes the trajectory of that release and just lets that ball carry.
It's just as simple as fielding the ground ball and throwing it, as he likes to say. Here's Jackson. There's another play for Kojal. Throws on the run, and it will skip by Robinette. 2 pitches and 2 outs would have been something for Gibbler. But we told you Jackson has incredible speed for a catcher. And Kojal just couldn't get as much on that throw, and Robinette will apply the tag in case he had rounded, but first base umpire Mike Victor said no.
Yeah, when that baseball was hit, you just didn't think there's any chance that Kojal was going to be able to get enough on it to catch the speedy Daniel Jackson.
Brings up Lujo, who had an infield single of his own in the first, but was hit by a pitch and scored on that 2-run third. We saw him make a really nice sliding catch in center. It's something Georgia has done because Lujo, I believe, came to Georgia as a second baseman. Henry Allen, who's in left, came as a third baseman. But what they do in the fall is they spend a lot of time playing multiple positions because you're bringing in these guys with experience that are athletic, that might be able to play some different positions. And if you're locked up on the infield and you have an infielder that has outfielder ability, why not figure it out? But it sounds kind of like a mad scientist experiment there with what the Bulldogs do in the fall and maybe even early in the spring.
Yeah, I think that a lot of these guys up to this point, especially if they've played at smaller mid-majors or something, you know, they've always been the better athlete, which you kind of want to have those guys on your infield. And, yeah, I think it's a good theory to try to convert those guys. I think Norm DeBryan was really good at that. He would take shortstops and turn them into outfielders and take third basemen and turn them into catchers because third basemen usually have really good hands. So I think that is really wise by Wes Johnson and staff.
Here's the 1-1. A little bit in to Lujo. And listen, I think Arkansas has gone through a similar situation over the last month with Dave Van Horn. It is an equation where how much offense can you generate while putting your defense at risk, or if you put a good defensive team on the field, how much does that challenge your offense, and how do you find the balance?
Yeah, it's really tough. Wow, that's a great shot by Robinette, and I think that Cole Gibbler's glad he's 6'3" with really long arms right there to go around Jackson. But yeah, defensively, especially when you've got guys that maybe are playing at their third position. It's not even, okay, this is a secondary position for me.
Like Rutenbar, for example. Sky to left, Ruiz slipped just a bit. Able to recover, make the catch, retire Lujo for out number 2.
Well, I tell you what, I thought Ruiz was going to go all the way down, and you can see him with a big old smile right there. He's got Jackie Robinson's number, but I don't know, that was kind of Jackie Robinson-esque on the slip, but he bounced back nicely.
It's got to be a little wet out there.
Oh, yeah.
It?
Yep.
He's looking for his divot. 2 gone. Here's Oriachu at an RBI single back in the 3rd inning. We saw Robinette catch that toss over to first, and I think there's times where Arkansas has had to make that equation with Reese. Probably hasn't hit to the level he did late last year, but he's such a good defensive first baseman that if you aren't going to play him, there's sometimes in a game in the 7th, 8th inning, he might find his way on because you want him to have a chance to save you an out or help win a game.
No offense to Carter Rutenbar, but I don't think he can make that play that when Reese Robinette reached around Jackson right there. I think that ball is going to be ricocheting down the right field line, and Jackson's going to be standing on third instead of on first right now.
2 outs and 2 strikes. Ryder Helfrich. Cat-like quickness was trying to get there.
just a hair delayed reaction by Helfrich. I think he was trying to figure out where the baseball went.
I was too. Or what happened?
I thought the ball hit the ground first, but it was just a little flare pop-up. And again, we've seen Aurillac just have tremendous range outside the strike zone.
Another 2-strike pitch. Fouled away.
It was a ricochet off of Helfrich. Played it off the hop.
I thought there was an extra kick there that I saw in the naked eye.
Ricocheted off his glove.
You're right about play coverage. It's hard to put one out of the zone that you might get a wave and a miss because it feels like he's going to make contact one way or another.
I almost think if you're Gibbler, you might want to try to climb the ladder right here or just get this pitch 6-8 inches off the plate.
Struck out only 11 times all season. I think Helfrich wants it up. Didn't get it high enough. He fouls another one back.
Jackson had a really good jump over there at first base. And for all the things that Cole Gibbler does really well, he definitely does not have a Colin Fisher pickoff over there at first base. Fisher's probably one of the best in the league, that lefty pickoff move, and Jackson was off with first movement.
Starting to become quite a battle between Gibbler and Aurillac. Tag to left center field. New on the move. Will track down another one. We've seen some center field play in this game tonight. Bulldogs get a hit, strand a runner. Halfway done. It's been all dogs. Arkansas trailing by 3. Due up second this inning for the Razorbacks. Troy, there's his numbers in SEC games only. In fact, it is the best batting average of any Razorback. Remember the time about a month in when I know if the fans and maybe us, the broadcasters, the media would say, if only Arkansas could get Pompey and Souza going. They are 1-2 in batting average in league-only games for the Razorbacks.
I'll tell you what's really crazy is you look at that average of 333 by T.J. Pompey. Brett, there was a time that he led the league in offensive strikeouts. And you're just going, okay, how's he going to snap out of this? And I think you talked about it. It's like keeping that weight back on that back leg, really getting into his legs, is sinking, and then keeping that upper body from floating toward the pitcher.
And sometimes it's getting out of whack by a little bit that leads to a bigger issue, whether it's confidence or expanding the zone or thinking too much, and all of a sudden you're swimming upstream.
Well, I tell you what, my analogy is when you're pressing offensively, the ball looks like a BB and you don't pick up spin. And it's so easy to hit up here in the booth or if you're in the stands, but I tell you, you just have to have some tremendous patience. And again, I think this Arkansas lineup, not swinging the bat overly well, is going to have to try to get some walks and maybe one big swing.
It's in there for a strike to Robinette, who's leading off this 5th inning. Reese struck out against Vigu. to end the second, the last batter that Vigu faced before he left due to some type of injury. Pretty good pitch at the bottom of the zone. I mean, it was, I would say, 4 or 5 weeks in, right around the start of conference play, if I would have told you or the fans that this deep into the campaign, more than halfway through the SEC slate, that Arkansas's leading hitters in the SEC would be Pompey, Sousa, and Rutenbar, you would say, huh, what, and who?
Exactly.
There's ball 4.
And the team's only hitting .235 in conference play. So that sums it up right there. And again, a really quality at bat by Reese Robinette.
Well, he's not in the training room. Got the glasses on. I think we're a little bit perplexed what may have transpired.
I don't know. You wonder if it could have been something maybe like in his back, like a back spasm or something that wasn't really arm related.
I'm looking at that mustache though on his right or his left. As Pompey waves and misses. That was a good looking stash. Look at that.
That's quality right there.
That takes some effort. You don't just roll out of the rack and have it looking that good.
It's got some good wax going with that.
Next one to Pompey is a little bit away from Jackson. Remember, he's got a 70 grade arm, and Robinette does not test Jackson.
Well, you're down 3. You cannot run yourself into an out right there.
Speaking of that mustache, though, our friends at Alabama, when McIlvain came in the game last weekend, put up the picture of Goose Gossage.
Oh, they were very impressed. I love that.
We tried that a few weeks prior, but they agreed. Big wave and a miss from Pompey. Feels like Arkansas could use something, whether it's just a run to begin this process. They've stranded 4 runners. They have not had anybody reach third base yet in this game.
There it is.
There we go. There's the goose.
Like a little Pete Vukovich from the Brewers.
Pompey's going to wave and miss. That's a strikeout. So Aoki gets the first out of this inning with what is his second K.
Boy, that pitch right there, it starts on the outer third, and then it just ends up nowhere close to the strike zone.
So Carter Rutenbar steps up. Let's see this again.
Yeah, the movement on that thing is, that spin rate's so tight. 2,600 on the spin rate on that breaking ball.
And Rutenbar takes a strike. What Carter did last night, though, Troy, was something we had not really seen. We have seen him battle and fight and hit for a good average. But to get a hanging changeup and just annihilate it was another step forward.
Yeah, hit one over 400 feet over the scoreboard in right center field.
Finds himself quickly down in the count, 0-2 to Aoki.
I'll tell you what, Aoki does not throw anything down the middle of the plate. It is on the corners. It's talking about a guy that uses all 4 quadrants of the strike zone.
You're right. In and out. Another chopper, that's foul to O'Shaughnessy. At some point, do you start looking for a pitch or a spot, or can you not do that because of how he's changing everything up almost pitch to pitch or batter to batter?
I think almost early in the count, you might try to sit on that big overhand breaking ball. Seems like that's the one he wants to get over early, and maybe it's kind of ends up about chest high. But if he gets ahead in the count, he is going to absolutely pitch in the bottom part of the zone and out of the zone down.
0-2 pitch. On the ground, O'Shaughnessy was holding the runner. That gave him a chance to make that play. It wasn't the most graceful effort, but it counts as the second out as Robinette advances to second base.
Boy, I tell you what, there's not many times that teams like that they have a right-handed first baseman, but in a play like that, that ball right down the line, if you're left-handed, you have to reach across your body to try to make that play. You probably don't make it.
Two gone for Helfrich, who has the lone Razorback hit in this game, and it came in the first inning. Didn't miss by much.
Looked like a pretty good pitch right there.
Ryder talking to himself again?
I think he is.
Can Arkansas get on the board? It's a ground ball into the hole. Backhanded by Branch. His throw is not in time. Helfrich beat it. O'Shaughnessy says review it. If it stands, both of the catchers who run extremely well have reached on an infield hit with their speed.
Okay. There's a couple things I think happen here. Live, I thought that he was out at first base.
I did too. Branch hesitated for a second before he turned one loose. It was kind of an awkward tumble because Ryder's really trying to extend to get there. The Bulldogs saw the play on the monitor, the video board, and they are racing to the dugout, and Jeff Head is telling them to go back. They're convinced he's out.
I thought he was out. I think he is right there.
At review, the runner is out. Georgia retains their challenge, still has one.
So, Ryder's out. Razorbacks are done. 3-0 Bulldogs as we head to the 6th inning. Defense can go hand in hand, but we've seen plenty of really good defensive plays from both sides tonight.
Well, we really have. Nice job by Nolan Souza right there. You see Mike Anu gets a good jump and throws an absolute strike to the plate. That's a great job to let that ball go through, cut that runner down at the plate. And again, like both sides have done it, Lujo in center field really was able to go get a couple balls that off the bat didn't look like any chance to catch him.
Agreed, and this is Henry Allen who has the one home run in this game so far. It was a monster shot in the second off Gibbler. Gibbler fairly economical on the pitch count as he goes back out for inning number 6. Asked Hobbs today what would be the number that you'd be a little bit alarmed with, and he said I wouldn't let him go over 115. I said, well, no duh, but you know, even 100 would be quite a stretch because the one thing, you know, Gibbler's not been in this rotation but a couple of weeks. We saw it last night though with Dietz because he came out maybe a little bit earlier than the fans may have expected because it's one day earlier than last week. Last week was the Friday, Saturday, Sunday series, and this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so it's one less day of recovery.
Yeah, that's definitely something to consider, but I think they're trying to keep these guys pretty built up.
That's laced to the gap in right center field. Rutenbar on the run, can't get there. The carom is played by New. He'll spin and throw to second base, but Allen is going to have his second extra base hit of the game. He's 2 for 2 with a walk.
Boy, off the bat, it looked like that ball might fade back and slice back to Rutenbar, but again, it was just hit so hard. I think he just hit it through that wind. 107 off the bat of Henry Allen. That is just an absolute bullet. But you see right there, Rutenbar thinks I might be able to make that play. Then it just caroms right past him. That's a good backup, I knew.
Here's O'Shaughnessy, who drove in a run with a single in the third inning, and that was the play that New threw out the trail runner. It would have been 4-0. You know, we had a shot of Dietz in the dugout a moment ago. I believe he was standing next to Carson Wiggins. Got bad news on his brother Jackson the other day. He had some arm elbow issues and has been placed on the IL at AAA Iowa, and I think many thought he was really, really close to the big leagues. There's another ball dumped out into center field, another base hit. Will Allen try and score? He will not. With nobody out, New's throw will be cut off. And the Bulldogs have runners on the corners.
I'm a little surprised that Allen didn't score on that play, but again, with no outs and with the way that Georgia hits, you feel like even a double play ground ball, you're going to get a run.
I think as a third base coach, you don't want the same guy to get you twice. With nobody out, well, DVH coming out of the dugout. Gibbler's pitch count was pretty low, but 5 innings plus 2 batters, and he will depart. Pitching change for the Razorbacks, down by 3. Dogs have gone to the bullpen. The junior right-hander Tate McGuire comes on to pitch.
Yeah, McGuire has been really good. He actually got a start in the third game against Alabama last weekend, and with him being able to come in this ball game, Arkansas feels like they're still in it. Again, only down 3 runs, and you feel like DVH is going to say, okay, I'm going to go with McGuire right here, which kind of makes you think, okay, who's going to start tomorrow? And you're probably looking at Colin Fisher, I would assume, but McGuire's going to sit. You see his numbers right there, really good command. He's going to sit in that low 90s, maybe 91 to 93 with the fastball, a little bit of run down and into righties, and pretty good overhand curveball as well.
And the start you mentioned against Alabama, 3 innings, 3 hits, couple of runs, 1 earned, 52 pitches. This is Ryan Wynn, who's 0 for 2 after homering last night. McGuire misses outside with the first one.
No outs right here. You see Arkansas is going to play Pompey in at third base, and then this is going to bring out Ryder Helfrich. He's going to talk about what he wants this defense to do. Up the middle, Arkansas clearly playing for a double play, trying to keep Georgia from having a big inning and just trading a run for a pair of outs.
Because the Hogs have had 1 hit, and they have not had a runner reach third base yet in this game through 5 innings.
I think at this point you feel like if you're Arkansas, you can get away with just giving up 1 run would be a pretty big victory.
Double and a single to begin things here in the Bulldogs' 6th inning. Wynn made up his mind late on that swing. Fouls one back and out of play.
If you're Wynn, you just want to avoid 2 things. You want to avoid the strikeout and the pop-up. Because you get a ground ball, unless it's right at T.J. Pompey at third base, you're going to get a run scored or a sacrifice fly.
We've seen McGuire lean on that cutter a little bit as of late, but that was a fastball up and out. Smashed fair down the line and left and into the corner. It'll score a run. O'Shaughnessy will go to third. He'll be held on the double from Wynn, and the Bulldogs have a 5-0 lead. 103 off the bat inside the chalk, and that's the first 3 Bulldogs reaching safely with hits in the 6th inning.
But like you said, a laser right down the line. Looked like it was a changeup left way up in the zone. You see with Pompey playing so tight, no chance for him, and O'Shaughnessy just cruises into third base. Arkansas is going to bring the infield in right here.
Sure are. Here's Branch. Couple of groundouts so far to third and short. Take strike 1.
There's that infield in. What it really does is allows that runner at second base in Wynn to get an absolutely gigantic lead. If it gets through, he's going to score easily. Really dandy changeup there by Tate McGuire. But you really need a punch out if you're Tate McGuire in Arkansas.
See what he does 0-2. He gets the wave and a miss. And again, I think he's leaning on that cutter.
That was one of those cutters almost like that Vignew threw earlier that kind of backed up a little bit.
I would agree. As a hitter, if you even identify that out of the hand at all and it backs up on you, you've got no chance.
That's exactly right. Arkansas is trying to figure out how they're going to play Black right here. They're going to put 3 infielders on the right-hand side.
Troy, it might be time for your telestrator as Black
Yep.
takes one outside. Let's see if Troy can break out the telestrator with all the Razorbacks.
Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3 over here on that right side.
That's one more than normal.
Looks like 6s, but they're supposed to be circles.
Oh, Troy, you semi-passed and semi-flunked your first telestrator. Wave and a miss.
Kind of shows my handwriting skills. They're subpar at
Troy's
best.
got a new toy. He's
Watch
got the
out.
telestrator. Matt Zimmerman in women's basketball games became the czar of the telestrator by the time the season finished. So you have hope left. But Ryan Black would love to take advantage of that seam on the left side of the diamond. He's 0 for 2. Big wave and a miss. We're going cutter heavy now.
Yeah, that's McGuire's best pitch right there. He could also go with the changeup right here, but he hung the changeup that got hammered by Wynn. I think he's got more confidence in that cutter, and probably so does Ryder Helfrich, who's calling the pitches. It's a really good take by Black right there. Again, as a hitter, you love to see that infield in. You say, oh, if I just hit the ball hard, they just can't react quick enough. You got 1 out. If you see a fly ball, if you're an outfielder, you got to let this one fly all the way to the plate.
Payoff pitch. Soft pop-up with the infield in. It becomes a longer run for Souza. Might you tag here? The catch is made, and O'Shaughnessy was stationed on top of third base. I thought we might have a replay of the Kojal tag the other day in Little Rock where you almost assume the infielder's not expecting you to bluff or go.
I think Souza, after seeing the Kojal tag, was more prepared for that play. He spun around and looked immediately at O'Shaughnessy at third base. That's a big out. That's what you want. The runner at third and less than 2 outs, a strikeout or pop-up if you're Tate McGuire, and he got the pop-up right there.
So again, if McGuire gets out of this inning with only the 1-run scoring, Arkansas is still kind of hanging around the periphery. Base hit, though, at 6-0 would really make things difficult. Phelps to Pompey. What a strong arm. Even after the bobble, Troy, he recovered to get the final out to keep another run from scoring.
And Pompey flat-footed threw an absolute dart across the diamond. What a strong arm by T.J. Pompey.
finals already. Florida, Auburn, another Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. Gators won last night. Tigers tonight. Ole Miss starting to heat up. Kentucky had a walk-off grand slam. Oklahoma's top 15 in the country. Boy, State needed a win. And LSU, Troy, if they lose, that game's in the top of the ninth, the Tigers will be 6-10 in league play.
Wow. And I tell you what, everybody takes their baseball seriously around the SEC and fan bases, but Baton Rouge is just to a different level.
I would agree as Kosher waves and misses here in the bottom of the 6th inning. We were talking to Wes Johnson today because keep in mind he was at LSU 1 year as a pitching coach. They won the national championship, and he had this pitcher, you may have heard of him, named Paul Skeens.
He wasn't too bad.
And Arkansas fared pretty well. They beat him in the conference tournament. But I said to Wes this week, you know, do you still talk to Skeens? And he didn't want to get into too any detail, but they stay in touch.
Yeah, he said yes was his answer. He didn't want to say how frequently.
Doesn't hurt when you have that pupil to be a pitching coach for a team and then go on to win the national championship. And Wes have kind of a music stand there to hold up all of his
I don't know what
stuff.
he's got going on there.
It looks like he's at Williamsport when you're in those dugouts that are underground and they got a cage in front of him. Kosho's 0 for 2. He might just be 1 for 3 and is. It's a good beginning for Arkansas's 6th inning, a single, and that is their 2nd hit of the game.
You can tell the Arkansas fans are trying to find something to cheer for. You know, they were cheering on base on balls earlier, and I don't blame them because these Georgia pitchers have done an outstanding job. But sometimes as a hitter, you just like to hit one off the end of the bat, and that's what Koschel did right there.
Well, last night there was 10,320. It's kind of a festive mood right now after a base hit and brings up Ruiz. I got to believe it's a crowd similar to that tonight. Ruiz drops down a bunt, but it'll take a left turn and kick foul. You know, Troy, we talked about Georgia going out and getting a lot of transfers, in excess of 20. And a lot of these kids came from the mid-major level. I say kids, they're grown men. But part of what you might be able to tell the transfers is, hey, by the way, here's our road schedule. If you're Aoki, for example, we're going to A&M. We're going to play in front of the 12th man. We're going to Mississippi State, the biggest stadium in the SEC. We're going to Arkansas. Then we're going to Swayze, and then we're going to go to Auburn.
Yeah, you're gonna average almost 10,000 fans at least at all those venues, and yeah, that draws players in. And I'd say Wes Johnson has been a master of the transfer portal. How about the last 2 years? And I know these numbers, I don't know which way they go, but 1 year it was 23 guys, new players. The next year 24, or vice versa. That is like a whole brand new team.
I think you could draw a correlation to football because it was Indiana that dipped heavy into the transfer portal to get some mid-major kids that were maybe ready for the next level or just older, experienced players. And that worked in Hoosier land.
It worked out pretty well.
Pitch to Ruiz is down and out. And Scott Strickland just couldn't quite get over the hump in Georgia. And West comes in, and first year was 43 wins and 17-13 in league play. His first year. Last year at one point they were 28-2. They're trying to go to 12-5 in the league if they hold on and win this one. Ruiz sucks one to left. Down the line. Will it stay fair? Yes, it does. Way back and long gone. And with one swing, Damian Ruiz cuts the lead in half. Boy, it's good to have Damian Ruiz back in Arkansas's lineup after he missed 6 games with that knee issue.
Well, Brett, we talk about it all the time. You just need a bloop and a blast, and you got the blast right there. Ruiz, he was just trying to see if that ball was going to stay fair. Well, the wind was really trying to have that thing hook, and you could see the home plate umpire, Will Van Rapport, said, hey, son, you need to start running at some point. He did not like him strutting out of the box right there. That is a big swing. Only the 3rd hit for the Razorbacks.
Here's Nolan Souza. We've had a couple of crowd shots, and we've said this crowd, if they're to get some life, kind of need a little bit of help. And maybe that home run from Ruiz, with the exception of that group of people, has made things a little more palatable. Because I go back to that Alabama series. Troy, you mentioned the 8th inning. Arkansas, I believe, had 12 runs over the 3 games in the 8th inning. Remember, they were down 3-1 late, down 3-1 late in back-to-back games, and down 2-0 in Game 3, and they won all 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is a time right here. See the players going down to the bullpen for the Bulldogs.
That's not a recipe for winning, though, in the SEC on the
No,
road.
it's kind of flirting with disaster a little bit when you play from behind, and you just can't count on those big crooked numbers. But Aoki, just, I tell you what, he always keeps you guessing. You think you're going to get something off speed if you're Souza, and then the pitch before that was a fastball right down the chute, and then drops off one of those big overhand hammers. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't come back with another off-speed pitch. Again, if you're Souza, you just got to see the baseball up. And again, Aoki's such a veteran pitcher. He is not going to get rattled by that 2-run homer.
Souza struck out against him in the 4th. Still nobody out in the inning. A breaking ball had Van Raphorst flinching.
I'm not sure where that one was because both the catcher and the pitcher thought they had strike 3.
Maybe it broke a little late or stayed just high. Regardless, the count has gone full. A little bit of life for the Razorbacks in the bottom of the 6th, and here comes a payoff pitch. Wave and a miss.
Really
Pulled
good
the string.
changeup. Man, that thing had some great depth down and away.
Souza struck out 3 times tonight. That's the first out of the inning. And Mike Anu coming to the plate.
If you're a Razorback hitter, you're not going to see very many fastballs. I think you almost have to sit on something off speed, and if you get one, you just have to tip your hat because the off-speed stuff is so good.
I'm with you. The one time you get a fastball is the one time you're convinced you're not going to get one. New got a fastball and skies it a mile in the air, and then Lujo has to come charging on. He looked like he was intent on going to the track, and look where he ends up. Almost to the dirt.
That was crazy how far he went. We talked about Mike Anu taking a big long route, but Lujo, man, he put on the Jets right there.
Tell you what, I mentioned he has an infield background. Troy, he looks really good to me in the outfield. Just as far as his athleticism, his comfort level.
Well, when you have the ability to outrun the baseball like he did right there,
Does help.
You can cover up maybe some misreads.
Stewart waves and misses at the breaking ball. Stewart is 0 for 1 with a walk. Bulldogs scored the first 4 runs in this game. The Razorbacks have tacked on a couple of runs. How big was McGuire stranding runners at 2nd and 3rd in the top of this frame?
Yeah, giving up just that one run was absolutely huge. And if you're Zach Stewart, I don't think you're going to see a pitch that's going to be above your knees unless it's going to be up about shoulder height.
And you have to be able to hit the mistake if you get one.
That's the pitch you got to lay off right there.
Stewart's former team, Missouri State, will be in Baum-Walker Stadium Tuesday. But he didn't play last night. Kahio Aloy, who did, is not playing this evening. And obviously Ruiz back in the lineup means Rutenbar may be a little less likely to play in the outfield. And there's a little tapper. Boy, that has some English on it. Phelps was in do or die mode. And that ball had so much spin, that was going to be a really tough play.
Yeah, that was a cue shot, and again, it's such a tough decision for Phelps right here. It's got some crazy, funky sideways spin. I think he almost has to try to get it with the glove because it was hit too hard. I mean, a whopping 40 miles an hour exit velocity, but it had so much spin on it. I think you have to try to make that play with the glove. Not the prettiest hit for Arkansas, but Zach Stewart will take it.
Does bring the tying run to the plate in the presence of Reese Robinette. He's walked and struck out. Reese has 1 home run on the season.
You almost feel you have to hit just an absolute line drive if you're going to get it out of right field. Or if you're left-handed, you could shoot one out to left and kind of get it in that cross breeze.
It fades outside.
We've already seen Robinette walk once tonight in his last at-bat. He is very comfortable taking a base on balls.
He was hopeful that might miss. And instead of being 3-0, it's 2-1.
I think if you're Robinette, you probably try to hunt that off-speed pitch away. Anything in, take it. See if you can't punch one out to left field.
Rolled foul wide of first base. Arkansas baseball trying to do the reverse of Arkansas softball. Arkansas softball went to Oklahoma tonight, and they were up 4-0, but they ended up losing.
I think it was 8-7.
8-7. It's a heavyweight fight in the softball ranks in Norman. Arkansas trying to inch a little bit closer. Meanwhile, Oki and the Bulldogs trying to kind of stabilize this game again and find a way to win to even this series before the finale, which is tomorrow afternoon. Fouled back and out of play. Josh Haley will be with you tomorrow. I'll be at Parents Weekend for my daughter's softball team, and hopefully it's not a jump off the bridge Parents Weekend.
No home run hitting contest this weekend,
no,
is there? Okay.
We can't because of the games, but this season's tested me, Troy.
Had to learn a little bit of patience.
Well,
being
I'm
half
trying.
psychologist, right?
That's downstairs. Did he offer? He did not. There's a country music lyric that says south of sanity, north of insane, and I'm in that sweet spot this year with softball. South of insanity, north of insane.
See if Georgia's going to hold Stewart on at first base. They're going to play behind with the left-hand hitting Robinette. I think that's a good move by O'Shaughnessy over there.
Stewart will run. O'Shaughnessy retreats behind him. Here's the payoff pitch. That's outside. That's ball 4. And the inning will continue for TJ Pompey.
It's going to bring Wes Johnson out to the mound to talk to his right-hander. The Bulldogs do have somebody up warming in the bullpen. Wes Johnson kind of took a glance out there to the bullpen but on his way out. Justin Bird down there warming up in a hurry.
75 pitches for Aoki, and keep in mind he came on in the 3rd inning and obviously was not warming up. He was in the dugout when Vigu couldn't continue for whatever injury reason. And it took him about, 15 minutes to get warmed up, and there was a series of exercises. Then when he came out to the mound, it started to rain, but it stopped, and he's been in there since. And this is really the first time Arkansas has kind of given him some fits.
It really has, and again, if you're Pompey, now it's going to be Nate Thompson's going to say, okay, Wes Johnson, you had your time. I'm going to come back in here and have an offensive timeout. And I tell you something, one thing about the Razorbacks, they do not have speed burners on the base paths. They got Stewart and Robinette, who I'd say probably average speed at both second and first base respectively. But I think this is a conversation that Nate Thompson's going to say, hey, TJ, you're going to have to see the ball up and definitely not down and away. You're going to have to try to get something early in the count, because if you let Aoki get ahead, he is just going to nibble.
There we go.
Now there's some life in the hog pen.
Young and old alike. Tying runs on base. Arkansas came into this inning with exactly 1 hit without a runner reaching 3rd. They plated a couple of runs. 2 more men out on the bases. And the pitch to Pompey. And that looked like a fat one until it dropped.
Wow.
Four of Pompey's 8 home runs have come in league play. What do you think the percentage of pitches he's thrown tonight have been that breaking ball, that curve?
I'd say almost 50%.
I'd say at least. I feel like it's maybe more.
Especially to right-handers.
You see the SEC graduate patch. He's probably graduated twice between 5 years, Notre Dame, USC, Georgia. Pompey will chop one foul. He's graduated, but it was before he even got here.
Yeah, you hope his credits would transfer very well. But I don't think that was his biggest concern. But another great changeup by Aoki. And, again, he's just giving a master class, a graduate class on how to pitch.
I see you working.
There you go. Just nibbling, changing speeds.
Swing and a foul tip, and he just got a piece to stay alive.
And, again, that pitch out of the hand as a hitter, it starts up about your bill of your helmet, and you're thinking there's no way that's going to be a strike, and you just kind of have to keep that front shoulder in. But now with a 1-ball, 2-strike count, you got a catcher like Jackson that can just smother anything. I think you're going to bounce one right here or close to it.
Another big pitch in this game. A little bit out, 2-2.
You can see the body language, Aoki. I thought it was strike 3, but we don't have the K-zone here in conference games.
Stewart at second. Robinette at first. Couple of runs home this inning. Pompey waiting on a 2-2 pitch, and here it comes, and that is cut on and missed. Aoki gets the K to end the inning. Hogs strand a pair, but Troy Ruiz had the big swing for the Razorbacks.
Boy, after a bloop by Camden Kojal, just a rocket by Damian Ruiz, he wanted to watch that one a little bit. Hogs still down 4-2.
The real fun just getting started.
Run straight for the breakaway.
The celebration is on.
Back inside Baumwalker Stadium. Rain delay of about 75 minutes, or weather delay before we started. Bulldogs jumped out to a 4-0 lead. Hogs got the homer from Ruiz in the 6th. On we go to the 7th. Hart to the lineup against Tate McGuire. Jackson, Lujo, and Uriach. It's hard not to talk about Jackson, and obviously there's a lot of potential going forward. This is a mile-high pop-up, and the wind will push this back, and that might be one of the better plays Ryder Helfrich's made, considering how much ground he had to cover.
That was absolutely exceptional by Ryder Helfrich, and boy, the wind really took that thing. Honestly, off the bat, I thought Reese Robinette was going to catch this ball. And watch Helfrich, he has to dodge the bat. He holds onto the mask, and I like how he waits until he knows where that baseball is going to be before he tosses that mask. You see sometimes young kids will throw the mask down, and then they'll step on it and trip.
Felt like almost the beginnings of an obstacle course on the old Superstars competition.
I'm with you. I remember that in the 70s.
You're jumping over a
Oh,
moat
yeah.
and you're swinging on a rope of some sort as Lujo bats. But obviously that's a big out. Jackson, again, has 17 homers. Troy, I think, he had 14 a year ago. He equaled that number at 18 games this season. So, I mean, that's a big guy to retire for McGuire. And that pitch kind of backed up, and Lujo will lift one down the line in left. And Ruiz went crashing into that side wall and almost got stuck. For a man who injured his patella tendon jumping for a home run ball earlier, that even looked 10 times scarier.
Yeah, he's coming off a little gingerly off that crash in the wall, and you hope that he's 100%. But I think this is the only way you have a chance to do it. You try to slow down with the slide, and, boy, the leg almost kind of got caught right there. And, yeah, there's padding there, but you know what's behind the padding?
Yeah.
Concrete.
I mean, you're worried about a leg or a foot, and then you're going hard into the concrete.
You can see the hands on the hips. I think he caught that wall pretty solid.
Didn't Christian Franklin make a catch against that wall to end a game against Mizzou?
Yeah. This is a warning right there by Tate McGuire that Will Van Rapport says you got to let the hitter get those eyes up on you before you start your motion. It's definitely a safety thing, and I like the rule.
Lujo has one of the 8 Georgia hits. McGuire kind of yanked that one.
Yeah, that was a changeup. He didn't want to hang in the zone, so he kind of overthrew it and just pulled that one down and away.
Helfrich sets the target. Stroke to left, hit well. Ruiz back, going to jump high, but it's out of here. Lujo does hit the homer. Bulldogs push their lead back up to 3. 108 off the bat. Ruiz gave it a great go, but it was beyond his glove and his reach.
Boy, you talk about the game of inches, and you see how close Ruiz came to catching that ball down the left field line that Lujo just kind of caught off the end of the bat, and he gets another swing and definitely does not miss that. That is a fastball center cut right down the chute. Again,
watch how far he got above the wall.
that was
Troy.
a great effort by Ruiz. I don't know how much better you can get. Even with the hops of Micah New, I don't think you're going to catch that baseball.
Jordy Uriach singled in a run back in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3, but Arkansas did a lot of work to cut the lead in half. Now it's back to a 3-run cushion.
Tell you what, Brett, good teams answer when scored upon, and that's what the Bulldogs did right there.
You know, the one thing Wes Johnson told us a couple of days ago, that one's fouled off Helfrich. That one stung. One of the questions I had for him, despite losing that series, their first of the year to Florida, the Riders trying to make sure his teeth are all in the same spot they were 30 seconds ago. You know, Wes didn't really want to get too deep into that because he knows it's a day-to-day and week-to-week scenario. But the one thing he said, our bullpen's been okay, and at times we've been able to extend the lead when we've had to. And it feels like both of those have come into play tonight.
Yeah, I think so. And that's what you have to do against good teams. And we were talking to Wes about just how crazy this whole conference is and how everybody's just beating up on each other. And he goes, you just can't ever have a day off. You don't get a break here in the SEC with anyone.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Fastball's a little bit outside. Wes's son Ryan was here with Wes's grandson when we were visiting with him, and Ryan is the head girls basketball coach at Bentonville West.
Yeah, very cool.
I didn't know that until this week. I'm sure a lot of our viewers do. Uriach will wave and miss. That pitch kind of fluttered a bit on the change, and McGuire gets the K.
Yeah, really good job with a changeup by Tate McGuire.
Henry Allen has been a pest today. As far as the Razorbacks are concerned, a homer, a double, a walk, and he scored a pair of runs. kind of guided that swing through the zone, however.
Okay, Brad, I want to look at right here. Look at that open stance right there by Henry Allen. What you see a lot of pitchers or hitters do with that is, a lot of times if your dominant eye is going to be in there, and they're going to try to get, if it's that right eye, he's going to try to get that right eye around to be able to see that pitcher a little bit better.
You getting spunky again
I
with the
did.
telestrator?
I flashed that little highlight area.
That's a roller to short, and Allen is retired, and the inning is over. But Lujo's homer extends Georgia's lead to 3.
Yeah, really nice swing right here by Ryan Lujo. Got an extra swing with the foul ball. He did not miss it. Hit a rocket out to left field. Dogs up 5-2.
There's your game summary. Aoki has thrown 4 innings in relief, and he's going back out to the mound. A couple of home runs as well for the Georgia Bulldogs, and Damian Ruiz's 2-run homer last inning is all the scoring for the Razorbacks.
Yeah, you just feel like that Arkansas is going to have to do something and put a crooked number up on the board in this inning.
I do have the top of the lineup: Rutenbar, Helfrich, and Kojal. Ruiz, if anybody gets on. Georgia trying to go to 12-5 in league play. Arkansas trying to win its 7th straight game overall and go to 10-7 in SEC games. And we got a chunk out of Jackson and rolled right back to Aoki. I tell you what, we talked about these catchers, and obviously the state of Georgia has 2 great catchers between Jackson and Von Lackey, who was on that Team USA squad with Ryder Helfrich, who's another kind of the year of really good college catchers. And Rutenbar takes one high, 3-0.
And not only good catchers, but just tremendous athletes as well too.
I'd agree.
This is one of those at-bats that you might even see Carter Rutenbar take 2 pitches right here.
0 for 3 with 3 groundouts to this point. Fades on the corner for a strike.
Even the 3-0 pitch from Aoki has got some good run to it.
Well, he's walked 4.
15, almost 16 inches of horizontal break on a 3-0 fastball.
Fouled back, it's 3-2. So again, 4 walks for Aoki, but he's battled back to send this count full to the freshman Rutenbar. Has the best batting average in any Razorback in home games this season. Reaches for it, lifts it to left center. Lujo on the move will give way to Allen. He makes the catch. It's a big first out in the bottom of the 7th inning. Just talking about the catchers from around college baseball, we're going to see Brendan Bach later on. Carson Tinney, I saw him this season with the Texas Longhorns. And then Jackson and Helfrich, and Lackey, of course, an outstanding catcher at Georgia Tech. And Troy, we're getting to that stage where there's a lot of projections as Helfrich takes one down and out. The last I saw from Baseball America that came out a couple of days ago had Ryder going 13th overall to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, wow.
And by the way, the slot value is $5.6 million.
That's a nice payday.
It's not bad at all. But, you know, when you can be one of 2 or 3 really good catchers and still be a mid-first round type pick, it shows you how good that class is.
Well, big league teams, if you need a backstop, there's plenty to choose from. I don't think you can make a bad choice out of those 5 or 6 guys.
Now it's 3-0. So that's back-to-back hitters. Aoki has started in that manner. That's 90 pitches now in 4 1/3 innings. He seems rather unbothered by the fact that he's thrown 90 pitches.
Just like I'm up here. I'm just spinning them up there one after another.
Three and one now. Kojal on deck. Ruiz, if anybody reaches.
It would not surprise me if he doesn't throw one of those big overhand curves right here on 3-1.
Kind of rocks into his windup. 3-1 pitch. That is the 5th walk issued by Aoki. Because of that home run, though, by Lujo in the top of the 7th inning, the Hawks need one more base runner to bring up the tying run to the plate.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Brett. That was a big swing by Lujo. And you feel like Camden Kojal's just about due to hit one out. And he's a guy that earlier in the ball game shot one down the left field line, just a line drive that was probably about a foot foul. If you're Helfrich, you cannot get picked off of the base over there at first. You got to wait till it goes to the backstop before you advance.
Kojal would like that one back.
That's a guy right there that was trying to take one out of the yard on a pitch that almost hit him in the front foot.
Outfield as straight away as they can be. That's off the glove of Jackson. But again, I was talking about that 70 grade arm. There's been a couple of balls that have rolled away from him 10, 15 feet in those runners because Arkansas is trailing and they don't want to get thrown out.
Yeah, you can't afford it. And I tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if back in the day Jackson might have done that in Little League and just on purpose, just to let one roll away and say, please run.
With one in the pitch timer, Aoki flips to first.
I tell you what, that's one thing that Aoki has done really well is he has used up a lot of that pitch clock. He is a very patient pitcher, and sometimes that'll throw a hitter's rhythm off. They like guys to just get that ball and go quickly.
Doesn't look like he's broken a sweat on those close-ups. Gibbler was lathered up 5 pitches in.
He's just like Mr. Cool, El Presidente out there on the mound just getting it done. He's got the solid webbing too, so I guess if he's trying to hide his pitches, you can't see any movement. No webbing on that glove.
Kojal waits on the 1-1. That's the pitch he swung at to start this at bat. That he lays off to send the count to 2-1.
Again, Aoki's got such great stuff. You just have to see the baseball up in the zone. Anything it needs to start about chest high because it's going to end up about mid-thigh.
Hard hit under the glove of O'Shaughnessy. Helfrich will turn and go to third. Then there's Razorbacks on the corners. I'd like to amend that. It was not hard hit, but it fooled O'Shaughnessy a little bit on the bounce.
Well, the first thing is Helfrich's over there at first base, so O'Shaughnessy's trying to hold him on. And again, a ball off the bat, it's right to him. It just gets right under his glove. I think he was already trying to make the pivot to throw to second base instead of fielding that baseball first.
Because that was 78 miles an hour off the bat.
It was definitely not smoked. And again, I think he was already taking a little peek to see where Helfrich was. And that's why that ball kind of skipped underneath him. It wasn't an error, but it kind of almost was.
Well, it scored an error.
Oh, did it? Okay, I didn't see that. I think that's the right call. But a walk and an error, and Arkansas has runners at the corners with just one out.
And again, they have the tying run of the plate, and it is the Ruiz who homered last inning off Aoki. Are you surprised they're letting him face Ruiz again?
A little bit. If it was anybody else besides somebody that hit a home run, I think, okay, I leave Aoki.
That's why I asked. But I'm with you.
Yeah, I think after the success that Ruiz has had, a little bit of a head scratcher, but you're going to go with your veteran if you're Wes Johnson. You have a lot of trust in him.
Kojo bluffed running. Ruiz took one down.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of pitches down and away, and that's the pitch that if Damian Ruiz can lay off of it, he's going to have a good quality at bat. If he doesn't, he's going to get all twisted up in a hurry.
That's in 2-0. Ruiz was in the postgame interview room last night, and you can't take the smile off his face. Just being part of big moments in front of big crowds after playing at Lamar and Houston Christian. You know he was floating around the bases after that homer last inning. He might walk on water if he would homer here because this crowd might kind of carry him around the bases in essence. Does he give himself a pitch to come unglued? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, he got a changeup right there and was just a little too jumpy. Hey, that's where you take your shot. You're 2-0. Even if you're way out in front, you're still 2-1. You're still in a hitter's count. I think against Aoki, after you hit a home run, you need to think about up the middle the other way.
One out in the inning. That one kicks away. Here comes Helfrich, and he'll score. And I swear the Razorbacks lead the universe in scoring on wild pitches, and they've done it again. What did Matt Hobbs tell us? That's our offense when it's going good, taking advantage of breakdowns or mistakes.
Brett, I would not be shocked if that's almost 20 runs that Arkansas scored on wild pitches or pass balls. It has just been absolutely crazy. And you talk about extra effort. Ryder Helfrich went into the Superman dive right there. He was going to score.
Now a base hit would make this a one-run game. That one's laced to the gap, left center field. Lujo, though, got a great break. He outran that baseball. Off the bat, you're thinking that's extra bases and it's a one-run game. Instead, that is out number 2, and Lujo has been a factor tonight, both with his bat and with his glove.
That is just a great play by Lujo. That is not an infielder playing outfield. That's a guy that is a true outfielder now.
When's the last time you saw a reliever throw 101 pitches?
A long time. But you have to think he's probably thrown like 15 fastballs. I mean, it's been off speed like crazy.
Souza's 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. And again, he starts him with that curve. He's done that a lot tonight.
The big overhand curve, he just left that one up. But I think that's the pitch you need to sit on early in the count. Now you're going to start seeing things soft. And Souza's chased the pitch down and in. That's the one you got to lay off at. There's really nothing you can do with that ball. There it is right there. That has just got some depth on it like crazy. 27-20 on the spin rate, 79 miles an hour. They pulled a parachute about halfway to the plate.
Koschel at second, a run home this frame. That one not close.
I think that was your token fastball just to change the eye level. So it was up and away. It was never meant to be a strike, and now you're going to see pitches down around below the knees. That's where they're going to end up. And if you're Souza, if you can lay off of it or get one that's going to be a little bit of a hanger.
Rope to a leaping second baseman win. Couple of plays again for the Bulldogs that may have taken another run away from the Razorbacks. 5-3 Georgia.
Well, it's a beautiful night here at Baum-Walker Stadium. Georgia's up 5-3, and that bullet by Nolan Souza off the bat, you felt like it had a chance, but what a great timing by Wynn, the second baseman, to climb the ladder and just rob a base hit. That was going to easily score Camden Kojal. And again, Brett, you talk about the difference between a 5-3 lead than a 5-4 lead. It just is something mental about it just being one run down.
No, I'm with you. And here's O'Shaughnessy to lead off the 8th inning. We ran a defensive package 2 or 3 innings ago, and there continue to be some big-time plays made tonight by both teams. O'Shaughnessy, though, a multi-hit game. 2 of the 9 hits for the Bulldogs. Arkansas has been out hit 9-4. Trying to even up this series at a game apiece. Tomorrow the finale's at 1 p.m. There's nothing that jacks me up quite as much as a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series.
It does, just kind of messes your whole week up. It just throws your timing off a little bit. And talk about timing, Tate McGuire is just trying to nibble against Michael O'Shaughnessy right here. And you understand why. The 10 bombs on the season for the big left-hander. Really good changeup down and in. Not really where you want to throw a changeup to a left-hander, but he got away with it. Now Arkansas is going to bring T.J. Pompey, the third baseman, over and have 3 infielders on that right side of the infield.
McGuire turns before he delivers to the plate. Gets a soft ground ball right into the shift. Kosho, the shortstop, the only infielder on that side of the diamond, had the ball tracked right to him. And O'Shaughnessy retired to begin the 8th inning.
Just a good job by Camden Kojal, understanding which batter he's got up running right there. It wasn't Daniel Jackson running down the line, and no offense to Michael O'Shaughnessy, but he's going to be the first to tell you, I don't run like Daniel Jackson, but as an infielder, you got to know that and take your time and not rush it.
Ryan Wynn had an RBI double back in the 6th, and then caught that liner from Souza to end last inning. Spent a couple of years at Wofford. Doesn't have a ton of at-bats, 45, but like many of these Georgia hitters, has produced when called upon. Soft ground ball, and McGuire did a nice job to surround it. That was a long underhanded flip, too.
Well, I tell you what I did like about Tate McGuire, I'm not sure about thinking about underhanding that ball, but he got a lot of momentum going toward first base, so he made a pretty nice flat flip.
It looked like he was throwing a beanbag and trying to land it on a wooden board that was angled.
Like a cornhole toss.
There you go.
Cornhole toss, yep, there you go.
It was an aggressive cornhole flip,
Yeah,
but one
it was.
nonetheless.
Long distance cornhole.
Yes. Branch is 0 for 3. Just about clipped him. Arkansas scored their 3 runs on the last couple of innings, but for a game that started about 75 minutes late and then had a 15-minute delay with the starter Vigu for Georgia coming out before he was able to pitch in the 3rd, it has been kind of a slow motion effort at times tonight.
Yeah, it looks this game has drug along a little bit. And boy, you hope that Dylan Vigu's okay. I hope it's just something maybe kind of like a muscle spasm in the back that maybe tightened up.
Well, he's been styling with those sunglasses
He
on in the
has
dugout
been.
most of the night as Branch fouls one back and out of play.
Tell you what, you don't want to make a mistake to Branch. He does have 13 home runs on the season.
And 49 in his career. Pulled the trigger late on that one and fouled it back into the seats behind Arkansas's dugout. Somebody caught that soft little pop-up. If ever there was one you wanted to catch, it was that one. It's been Gibbler and McGuire, and that's it for Arkansas tonight. Helfrich sets the target. Here's the 1-2 to Branch. Sent out to left center field. Micah New on the move, tried to slide and make the catch, and the ball drops and it kicks away. Branch got halfway to second. He'll slam on the brakes and return. I thought New might go into a dive to try and catch it, but he tried to do the slide and pick it off the grass, and it didn't work.
Yeah, I think as an outfielder, that's one thing you have to know is that ball's not hit very hard. You got a guy backing you up. You can go ahead and leave your feet right here. It's a really good job by Micah New, and I love how Branch rounded first base aggressively. If that ball kicked away any farther, he was going to be standing on second base.
But the inning continues for Ryan Black, who's 0 for 3. Trey Phelps waits on deck. McGuire would just as soon face him in the 9th. McGuire gets the wave of a miss.
Brett, you said it earlier. This is a Georgia team that really doesn't run very much except for Daniel Jackson. Colby Branch at first is 1 for 1 on the season.
McGuire's running that pitch timer down to 2 when he delivered. McGuire trying to keep Arkansas close. Georgia again built that 4-0 lead after a few innings, and the Hogs have been chasing ever since. Now 3-1 to Black. Really don't want to believe you nibble too much here with Black with the top of the lineup looming on deck.
Yeah, I don't think so. You got to challenge him right here, and no offense to Ryan Black, but Trey Phelps is one of the most elite hitters in the whole league.
That's not close. That's ball 4, so the 2-out single by Branch kept the inning alive, and then the walk to Black, and now the Dogs really looking for some insurance with Phelps, who, by the way, for tonight has been held in check at 0 for 4, but he came into the game with the second-best batting average in the SEC.
I think Arkansas is going to make a pitching change right here. DVH out of the dugout, and it only means one thing. That means a pitching change for the Hogs.
Arkansas is going to go to the bullpen. We'll step aside in the 8th inning. A couple of runners on base for the Bulldogs. Get a 5-3 Georgia lead. We might see Steele Eves tonight, and here it is with a couple of runners on base and 2 outs in the 8th inning on in relief of Tate McGuire.
Yeah, what you're going to see out of Steele Eves is a really good strike thrower. You see the numbers right there, the 22 punch outs, only 6 walks. But what Steele Eves does when he's on is he's going to entice a lot of ground balls. Pretty good sinker that goes down and into right-handers. Kind of a sweeping breaking ball down and away. So, again, a guy that has to pitch around the knees to be effective.
The one bugaboo this year has been the 5 home runs he's given up in those 25 innings for a sinker baller.
Yeah, if he gets that ball up in the zone, and with a guy like Trey Phelps at the plate, it could get out of here in a hurry.
Trey Phelps will bat with a couple of runners on base and 2 outs. Last time we saw Eves in a game was against Alabama on the 11th, hitting in 2/3 with a hit and an unearned run. Got to believe there have not been many 0 for 4s this season for Phelps. An 0 for 5 would be even rarer, but Eves has not been in the zone in the first 2 pitches.
Yeah, good speed on the bases for Georgia. You've got Branch at second and Black at first. Black is getting a really huge secondary lead, and I don't think Arkansas is thinking about picking behind him, but he is definitely getting off the base.
What big wave and a miss. He was going to cut one loose 2-0.
Really like that out of Phelps, man. Just let it fly. You're still 2 balls, 1 strike. You're still ahead in that count. There's that big lead over there by Black.
On the ground, up the middle. Koschel gets there, shovels to Souza for the force on Black to end the inning. So it's the Bulldogs' chance to strand a couple of runners. They've left 8 in the game. Hogs have 2 innings with which to work.
ESPN is now the home of MLB.tv.
So all out-of-market games, live or on demand, plus all your favorite sports on ESPN. We need to tell the people, Carl.
We're doing it right now.
ESPN is now the home of MLB.tv. All out-of-market games, live or on demand, all in one place.
We head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Georgia's led throughout tonight, 5-3 Bulldogs. Georgia's gone to the bullpen. Just their 3rd pitcher used tonight. It's Justin Bird. He's been warming up all evening.
I think Justin Bird's thrown probably 50 pitches down in the bullpen. He is definitely loose, but you can see the numbers on Bird. Really a nice strike throw, the 40 punch outs, and only 7 walks. He's going to have that fastball low to mid-90s, throw a slider and a cutter as well. And the guy that Wes Johnson has a lot of faith in that come out, he can be the guy that goes long relief. He can be a closer, kind of a fireman for this Bulldog pitching staff.
Couple of years at USC Aiken last year with Georgia, 18 relief appearances and a 3.74 earned run average. Didn't walk many guys a year ago, to say the least. Hasn't walked many this year, so free base runners might be tough. It'll be New, Stewart, and Robinette. Arkansas has left 8 on the bases tonight. New skies one in the air to left field. Back goes Allen at the fence. He'll leap and he'll make the catch near the yellow line. Allen's done a little bit of everything tonight. Arkansas was that close to maybe making this a one-run game.
Yeah, New caught that one off the end of the bat just a little bit. It was a hanging breaking ball and just kind of flipped it out there to left field, and Allen just did all he could. I tell you what, he got right back, found the fence really well, and boy, that is close.
Here's Zach Stewart, who's 1 for 3, an infield single that left his bat at 40 miles an hour back in the 6th. Again, it was the 8th inning in Alabama. Arkansas scored 12 runs over those 3 games. They need some 8th inning magic tonight, or Georgia's really going to inch this one a little bit closer to the finish line and their 12th SEC win of the season.
So the big arm by Bird right there with 94 on the velocity, but getting already down 2 balls, no strikes. If you're Zach Stewart right here, you've got to get a strike. He took that one right there.
Georgia pitchers have walked 6. That's help for Arkansas because the Hogs have only 4 hits. They have 5 hits. So Zach Stewart has 2 of them. That is the 60th multi-hit game in Zach Stewart's career. That is a ton of games with 2 hits or more.
Yeah,
60.
Arkansas is going to pinch run for Zach Stewart right here. Landon Schaefer already had a helmet. He was ready to go. I think that conversation happened before the inning even started.
Stewart departs. Seeing Schaefer in a pinch running role, steal a base, but again, he's on there to create a little more speed in case there's a ball in the gap, whatever might transpire.
Or just even little things like, a ball to an infielder's left or right that maybe you try to flip to second base and the guy that's got a little step faster can maybe beat that throw.
Again, Arkansas is in a spot with Robinette. If you dare to dream and he launches one out of here, it's a new game. But Reese has walked twice. He's been very patient tonight. Did strike out in the 2nd. Healthy wave and a miss.
You almost hear a pin drop in Baumwalker's
it's
stadium
quiet,
when
isn't
that
it?
pitch came in. I think everybody's kind of holding their breath here, just hoping that Robinette can get a hold of one, but
1 point tonight, we had 10,593. It's thinned just a bit with the rain and other delays. And that is a wave and a miss. Robinette will K, and there's 2 outs. Tomorrow's supposed to be Brew Pig Suey. I almost feel like we should just start that now and just keep it rolling. Generate a little buzz. Literally and figuratively.
those are some dandy breaking balls right there by Justin Bird. Talked about the bottom falling out of those pitches. There's no way you're going to get hurt on those.
Now, Pompey came to the plate last in the 6th inning with a couple of runners on base and 2 outs. He went down on strikes. At that point, the tying runs were on base. He represented the go-ahead run.
I think if you're Pompey, you definitely can't take anything down and away. You need to look something middle in that you can hook down that left field line.
Throw to first, and O'Shaughnessy was lucky to glove that one.
I'll tell you what, if you're Bird right here, you've got 2 outs. Your focus needs to be on that hitter. Schaefer's really not going to go anywhere. He's got probably too big of a lead, for me anyway, over there at first base.
Pompey takes a strike.
That is a great no ball, no strike pitch by Bird right there. After a couple picks there, he did not lose focus. Just dropped a dime in the outside corner. And if you're TJ Pompey, you just have to take that and you hope he makes a mistake on this pitch.
Nice job by Jackson to smother that baseball. He bobbled it for a split second, but he didn't get the short up on that one either.
Those are some of those plays that you don't see in the scorebook, but they're just big.
Arkansas has been out hit 10-5, but a long one would even up this game. Georgia has used just 3 pitchers, and that's not bad considering Vigu, the starter, had to come out after 2. Rip and a miss by Pompey, and he did expand or kind of lunge out after that one.
Yeah, that's that pitch that's kind of giving him a little bit of fits this season, and it's so tough to lay off of when you're up here in the booth or in the stands. But when that thing's coming in there and it starts right down the middle of the plate and just dives down and away, it's tough to lay off of.
Bird trying to end this inning. That time Pompey would not chase. 2-2. Rutenbar back at the top of the lineup, waiting to see if Pompey prolongs this 8th inning. Bird working from the third base side of the rubber, picks again. Tell you what, had he put that on the base, it might have been really close. A little bit high over to O'Shaughnessy.
Yeah, down by 2. I'm really surprised that Landon Schaefer over there at first base has the lead that he has.
Pompey rolls one foul outside of third. We'll do it again. Someone's got to retrieve. It's a veteran move. Allen threw that about 10 rows up into the crowd. He wasn't going to risk throwing it in the first row and have somebody drop it.
I think you're going to see Bird go down with that breaking ball down and away right here again.
Did throw the breaking ball, and Pompey lifts it to right. Black underneath it, waiting for it to descend, and he will make the catch to end the inning. So Arkansas stranded 9 so far tonight, and Georgia maintains its lead. To the 9th in a game that has been in slow motion at times with a couple of big delays. We've navigated this evening to the 9th inning, and Steele leaves back to work with Georgia leading 5-3. It will be the heart of the lineup for the Bulldogs: Jackson, Lujo, and Oriash.
Those are 3 batters. It's not easy to navigate through.
No, I was thinking the same thing. Jackson has an infield single and has walked and scored a run. If you would tell Arkansas before the game that, hey, you'd be in the 9th inning and the combination of Phelps and Jackson, as dynamic as any duo in the SEC, would be a combined 1-for-8 with an infield single, you'd say, sign me up. And yet, you know, you talk about the depth of this lineup. Allen and Lujo homered, and Georgia's flashed some leather today, and Arkansas left 9 on base, and Georgia stranded 8.
Well, a couple of the runs that really jump out is Jackson walks, he comes around to score. Lujo got hit by a pitch, he comes around to score. So a couple of free base runners are the difference in this ball game.
I've noticed as this game has progressed, going out to retrieve foul balls has been more of a chore, and that's Colin Fisher, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't start tomorrow, Troy.
He's just trying to stay loose. But you're right.
He should be in bed.
There's not been a lot of bounce out of the dugouts for either side to run down the line to pick up some foul balls.
He may have to do another one. Hey, Colin, come on back. You just went and got the baseball, but and keep in mind again, this is a day game tomorrow, and then that's not Fisher. He got that one off. Bricio go retrieve.
Get the freshman out there. Come on, freshman.
I would say so.
You got to get out there.
There's a number of freshmen that have not pitched that might be first on my list to go retrieve. Wave it a miss. Down goes Jackson. Eves with the K. Starts the 9th inning with a strikeout. That gentleman has been here all night, and he's not been terribly busy. Just the 5th strikeout that he'll post.
Yeah, just great location right there by Steele Eves. A fastball up and away. 94 on track, man. That fastball. That was one that Jackson thought, because I thought I had a pretty good swing at that one.
Here's Lujo, who homered in the 7th. A line drive shot just out of the reach of a leaping Ruiz at the fence. It pushed the lead to 5-3. And again, Arkansas had a couple of swings. One, the new fly ball to the yellow line and left, and then the liner by Sousa that was caught by wind back in the 7th. Had they been an inch in either direction, would have been a run. Sousa can't collect that one. Off the bat of Lujo, and it's going to propel into shallow center. Sousa's going to retrieve, and Lujo will reach with one out.
Boy, talk about a guy with a really short stroke. That's Lujo, man. He does not bring his hands back very far, but generates a lot of bat speed with that quick short swing.
That's the 11th hit tonight for the Georgia Bulldogs. Gives them a chance to look for a little bit of insurance before Arkansas in the 9th will have Rutenbar, Helfrich, and Kojal. Top of their lineup. Oriach is 1 for 4 with a run-scoring single.
Wes Johnson made the play right there off the net.
You know, I'm looking at the body of Oriach.
Got a comp?
Well, who was the former Vanderbilt player that was a Pittsburgh Pirate? Left-handed hitting first baseman.
Now you're going to make me think right here.
It was on the tip of my tongue, and now it's gone. It's Pat Goods.
It is not ringing a bell from me.
You got to hang with me. I'm typing, Troy. I'm going as fast as I can. That's down and in. 2-1.
Oriach just
Pedro
feels like
Alvarez.
Okay. I don't think he was quite that big.
Oh, he was a big dude.
Give me a comp on his size.
Strike at the bottom of the zone. .6'3" and large was Pedro Alvarez. 6'3", 250 pounds.
Okay,
left-handed hitting power hitter.
Oriach is 6'5", 245,
All
so
right.
pretty good
I'm
comp.
in the neighborhood.
I'll give it to you.
That stroke down the line and left, and it's out of play. Alvarez had a 36-homer season and a 30-homer season as well for the Pirates. Also had a 27 and a 22, so he had a pretty good
he had some juice.
Big league run.
Speaking of running, Black was off with the pitch right there. Trying to stay out of the double play. I mean, I think that's a pretty wise move.
1-out single in the 9th has given the Bulldogs a chance to try and add to this 5-3 lead. Serve to third. There is Pompey. Flips to second for one. Sousa caught that low toss and then finishes the double play. Hogs go around the horn for the twin killing to keep Georgia from adding to its lead. Rutenbar, Helfrich, and Kojal, maybe Ruiz in the bottom of the 9th inning. at that offensive summary, base runners have not been a huge problem, but it's been the runs and hits that have been a little bit lacking despite the 6 walks.
Yeah, the 9 strikeouts is always concerning when you're almost double figures. But you're right. The 6 walks have been producing some base runners, just not a lot of offense around those 6 walks.
I would say, though, sometimes you have to tip your hat to the pitchers you face, and it's not something competitors like to do, as Rutenbar starts the 9th inning by taking a strike. But Arkansas has seen 3 pitchers with really good spin and movement tonight.
It's been outstanding. Georgia's got some guys that are throwing wiffle balls up there tonight. I mean, there's nothing that's straight.
You're talking about 2 hitters that have entered the game leading their teams in batting average in Phelps and Rutenbar, and they've gone a combined 0 for 9 tonight.
Yeah, that just tells you how good the pitching's been. Just a couple mistakes on both sides.
Hogs need a base runner to bring the tying run to the plate. That may not do it. Chopper to Branch, 1 gone, 9th inning.
Boy, Branch has been absolutely outstanding this season and just really locked down that shortstop position. I think a season ago, he went 20-plus games before making his first error at shortstop.
And Wes Johnson was very complimentary. The shortstop. Here's Ryder Helfrich. Ryder walked and scored back in the 7th. He also singled in the 1st inning, so he has one of Arkansas's 5 hits. And with the exception of that home run that Ruiz hit for a 2-run blast in the 6th inning, there's Branch again. They would say try somebody else in the dugout. 2 gone. The other 4 hits have been singles.
Yeah, good job by Bird. Another off-speed pitch. That one was only 80 miles an hour, and Arkansas hitter's been a little aggressive here with needing base runners, because you saw the bloop in the blast at Kozel, and then in the 6th inning had a blooper into center field, and then Ruiz with a home run.
Kozel singled in 4 at-bats. Sits on strike 1, needs to reach to keep this game alive, bring up Ruiz. Otherwise, we'll head to a winner-take-all game 3 Saturday afternoon. And Arkansas quickly not only down to its final out, but its final strike.
The thing is, Bird's got a really good breaking ball, but then he'll throw in 94 and just blow you away.
Hogs won 6-3 a night ago. Georgia trying to finish off a win this evening. Arkansas' 6-game winning streak also at stake. Jump them back up the standings in the SEC, certainly in the RBI category. But they have never led this evening. Lofted down the line and left, and it will be, well, back and out of play. And the chase is on. Somebody got it. When you get a foul ball with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the bottom of the 9th,
you got a blanket around you.
I mean, it's your day. You're that close to going home, and somebody hits one to you. Kozel will send another one in her direction. She had the blanket on, better get ready to go get another baseball. The gentleman with her had one of those yards of beer that was empty. So he's
driving home.
Yeah, hopefully.
So Bird's been trying to get Kozel on the fastball up and away. You might see him bury a breaking ball right here.
Wave and a miss. And the Georgia Bulldogs win it tonight 5-3 to force a winner-take-all game tomorrow for the series.
Yeah, really good win for the Bulldogs. Some great pitching after Big U goes down with an injury. Aoki came in and threw over 100 pitches, was outstanding, and then Bird just slammed the door on the Hogs. Arkansas just really couldn't get much going offensively, but again, a couple big teams going at it. This is a big game tomorrow for both ball clubs.
Certainly is, for a lot of reasons. 1 o'clock, first pitch. Josh Haley and Troy Eklund will have it. Wes Johnson, DVH, locking up again. That'll do it tonight, though, from Baum Walker. We started with a 75-minute rain delay, then finished off the game. Coach Silverfield threw out a first pitch. But for Troy Eklund and our entire crew, I'm Brett Dolan, thanking you for tuning in. Once again, our final score, the Dogs take it 5-3 over the Razorbacks. Good night from Arkansas.